This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
This episode is brought to you by Hello Fresh.
Why, hello, Fresh.
Red hot comic book movie news, shooting up your butthole. The Weekly Planet, the Weekly Planet.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday, and with me is, as always, and my co-host, Nick Mason. Hello.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Hello,
Isn't it?
James.
Hello.
Hello.
So tell me, Mason, has it been a big week?
Trim my beard a bit,
Wow.
right?
And
That's what the people want, right? They want beard-related news.
Well, you told me before the show that you went to slightly even it up and then you just kept cutting, and you seemed immensely unhappy with it.
Yeah, took the bottom of my jaw off.
Just kept going.
This is very difficult.
Oh, no.
No, I did that thing where I do I'm like, oh, this seems a little uneven, and I trimmed it. And I'm like, was it uneven?
Yeah.
Or was it just the angle? Because now it is very uneven. So now I'm going to have to do the other side. Then I did that, and I'm like, oh, no, it's worse, I think, or better, I don't. I keep,
Just keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going till you hit face.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Big week this week, Mason.
That's bloody. Is that what Anthony Starr said?
Whoa.
Keep going until you hit face.
Anthony Starr, what are you up to?
All right, you silly goose.
Stop doing the things that you were doing.
Stop punching people and then getting away with it because you can pay to get out of it in Spain or whatever.
And you never yell, like, don't, or some variation allegedly, like, don't you know who I am? Or you'll be sorry because of who, like, come on. Don't,
right?
It's lame, Mason. I'm going to say it's lame.
We've been renewed for season 3, don't you know that?
Anyways, big week.
Unless there's already been season 4.
Yeah,
we already have a season 3.
2. There is that new.
I don't know. I'm drunk in Spain.
There's that new show, like the animated one, which is apparently very good, which I have yet to watch. Maybe we'll talk about it.
I haven't seen the trailer for that. How is that different from the regular show besides being animated?
It's I think it's different animation studios and it's like little vignettes, I believe.
Yeah. I wonder. So I wonder, is it based on the show or is it based on the comic?
It's a show,
okay,
but I think some of the art style might be also the comic as well, or the feel.
Oh, I think maybe I do know that one of in the comic books, one of the characters is meant to look a lot like Simon Pegg.
Oh, that's true.
I think maybe he looks like Simon Pegg in some of the shorts. I think that's the thing that I know.
That's
the thing that I know.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
That's how they got everybody on board.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyways, it is, of course, the Batman week. There are time codes that Collins, who edits this, puts in if you do want to jump ahead to just that review, which is absolutely fine. But, of course,
the main event.
We've got
course.
Got news leading up. We've got some release dates that have been shifted in Russia. We've got some Netflix Marvel news. We've got some Alien news.
Ooh.
Trailers Ahoy, big time. Futurama news. I Am Legend news. And then, of course, straight into Not straight into. And then after those things...
after an interminable amount of time,
we
the
will
Batman.
be talking about Batman. So let's kick things off with what I said about the Russia thing, Mason.
A Batman? Do you think it'd be a bigger movie event if it was called A Batman?
A Batman?
Not The Batman.
A Batman?
Indefinite article. A Batman?
What do you think? A Batman?
Sure, yes.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they're running out of titles, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just thugs on the street, like they see him in the corner and they're like, a Batman? And he's like, no, and they're like, well, we assume there's more of you. He's like, no, I'm taking all the credit for this. I'm the Batman.
I have a bike, I get around everywhere. I'm moving and shaking. Come on, man. I want some credit for the legwork I put in to get here.
I hit everybody with my signature punches.
That's right.
How can you not know it's me, the Batman?
So, yeah, obviously I'm sure everybody in the world knows this, but yes, there is a conflict in Ukraine at the moment because Russia invaded because I don't know why, because they're a bunch of fucking idiots. Anyways, one man in particular, but, I'm sure there are other people in support of it. Look, I'm not talking about political stuff, Mason.
I understand, sure.
But I am. But what's basically happening is a bunch of major movie studios, including Disney, in turning red, including Warner Brothers and the Batman. They are removing their movies from scheduled release dates.
Ooh.
Sony is also removing Morbius, but if they bloody wanted to really punish the Russians, they'd bloody release
the movie Morbius.
They put it out. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's amazing, but that's a joke that I'm doing.
That's very good.
Thank you. So yeah, that's not surprising, and obviously I think this is also. After most countries in the world who have any kind of relationship with Russia are putting sanctions in place and all these kinds of things, this is like the bare minimum you can do.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not surprising at all. Yeah. Anyways, do you have any opinions on anything political just while we're in the zone?
I always forget bin night, like when bin night is.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they should send around an alert.
Oh, really?
Onto your text message.
That's a
or
very
something.
good idea, actually.
And we got to get a bin night alert.
Do you have a fridge calendar? You have a fridge calendar, Mason?
Yeah.
What about personal responsibility? What about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps?
I don't like that. Also, I put my boots in the bin.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So often, like, you won't put the bin out, and then the following week or weeks, because recycling's every 2 weeks. I assume.
No. Somebody else puts the bin out.
Puts your bin out.
Yeah, there's a guy. I don't know, but
Is there really?
apparently
In your building?
yes.
What?
But I sometimes
Can you come to my house?
Yeah, I'll ask him.
I'm not going to pay him,
Okay, right.
but I still want that.
Well, I assume he does it for the joy of it, so
Okay,
he
yeah.
probably won't want money.
Are you in like a building where like if your bin is full, you just like, I'm just chuck this in this other bin here. Like if you've got a big
James, no.
you don't do that?
No,
If you've got like a big broken bicycle, you just put it in somebody else's bin.
I guess I could, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Fine, I can get rid of my broken bicycle.
I also have a broken bicycle that if I could give to you as well.
Sure, I'll ask the guy.
Anyway,
that's political talk.
that's good though. I think that's a great stance to take, and I'm all for it. So Netflix and Marvel, we've talked about what's going to happen with those shows. In particular, like other places in the world, except for the US, we're getting them on Star.
What about Russia?
I don't think they're getting it, Mason. I'm not sure about the specifics.
Okay, sure.
But now we didn't know what was happening in the US because they don't have Star. They've got Hulu. So I was like, is it going to Hulu? What's happening? So they are coming to Disney Plus on March 16th, and there's going to be some kind of updated parent control situation if you do want to access them, because there's sometimes some swears and some shoots in those.
That's right.
Those movies and shows. They're shows, aren't they?
They are swears and shoots.
And I think I saw they released a trailer, but it was like everybody except Iron Fist, like in the
Ouch.
Defenders. He just didn't get a look in, didn't get a gig, mate. But there's worse Marvel stuff on Disney. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there sure is.
Inhumans.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? I guess that didn't get a trailer though, did it?
No, it sure didn't.
So that's exciting. So there you go. So that thing that maybe some people were concerned about has been resolved. And about damn time.
That's right.
I should say also.
If, like me, you hadn't watched them in a very long time,
Yep.
and then it was announced they were being removed, and then you were like, "This is
I got to get on this.
got to get on this. Don't worry about it."
But then they said
I've got 100 other things that I need to watch that are fresh and new that I haven't seen before, but I've got to get
Exactly.
on this real quick. Don't worry about
Don't
it.
even worry about it. You don't have to watch it now. Here's some news via the Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, some news I can use.
No, I think so, definitely. Fede Alvarez, which is, I think, how you say his name, he's going to write and direct the new Alien movie for Hulu.
Oh.
Now, if you don't know who he is, he directed Don't Breathe, 2016. He didn't do the sequel.
That's about the blind.
Yeah, the
man?
blind guy, who's the dude from Avatar.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's like a serial
Oh,
killer.
so
or whatever.
there's an alien James Cameron.
Very
There's
good.
There's a link there
There's
somehow.
some things. I mean, James Cameron only directed one Alien movie.
That's true.
But there is that link that you've made.
Oh, do you think James they're going to get political in this? Do you think they're going to?
Like corporations and the
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Do you think
I
they're going to
hope
be
not.
like, oh, corporations are bad in this one? Oh,
I hope not.
Oh my goodness, getting political in
It's a
these
bit too
alien
much.
movies. Yeah, they should just be about aliens killing Paul Reiser.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Evil Dead he also did the Evil Dead reboot from 2013.
The movie, not the show.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is, I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's pretty good.
I don't think I saw it. No.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
Oh.
basically the first one, but it's way gorier and updated. And I know, I really like it. And it's like, also as a reboot, people like it. Also, it might be a sequel.
Well, Ash. The only
Ash
thing I
is
know
in or
about it,
something,
Ash
right?
is in at the end.
We've talked about this
Yes.
every day.
Uh-huh. That's
yeah.
right.
Anyway, ask me what it's about.
Alien.
No, this new Alien.
New aliens.
No. It's the same aliens.
Okay, great.
You asking me what it's about.
Oh, you wanted me to ask further things.
Ask me
about
what
it.
it's about.
James, what's it about?
I got a quote here.
Wait, have you written a joke? Have you written a funny?
No,
little
I've got
joke?
it. It's literally an exact quote.
Okay, great.
A really good story with a bunch of characters you haven't seen before.
Whoa,
What do you think about
nice!
that?
I love it.
Not a joke.
I love it.
So it's not the.
Couldn't we bring back some of the previous characters from previous movies we loved, including ones played by actors who have since died? Can we do that with CGI that's barely adequate?
Yes.
And it's on Hulu, so it
Ian
has to be
Holm is back.
PG-13.
Bring
probably.
him back.
Bring him.
Just
Bill.
they probably
Paxton.
Yeah.
Bring him back.
What do you mean
Yes.
he died? Also
That's
in the
what I
movies
mean.
and real life.
Well, so did Ian Holm.
Yeah, but he's a robot.
Oh, I
and
see.
they probably scanned him for the Hobbit. It's
Well,
fine.
they could scan bloody Hicks, and he could bring him back.
They never scanned.
They
Hicks,
probably
Mason.
scanned him. They probably did some sort of weird, like, unisex crew scan where everybody's nude and they scanned him. You know what? There's future
Yeah, no,
societies
they
are all
need-
nude in the
No.
shower room, and they probably scanned him.
But
Now he's a robot as
You
well.
need a real life scan. I'm talking about of him.
Probably have one.
Well, no, I would say not. But also, they probably didn't have a scan of what Harold Ramis might have looked like.
It's true.
If he looked like Egon Spengler in the modern day, and they did that, didn't
Yeah.
they? So yeah,
They
bring
had
back.
scanners of the 80s,
There
cameras.
we go. So good. Look, I still am interested in seeing like, can we do Alien 3 like properly again or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Well, then you'd need Hicks.
Yes, you would need, and he's alive.
Yes.
So that's and that nearly happened. The guy who was doing Elysium was going to do it at one point.
Oh, yeah,
But,
Michael Biehn is alive, yeah.
Yeah, he's alive.
I was thinking, what's
Bill
Hudson?
Paxton.
Bill Paxton
Hawke.
is Hudson. Okay,
He's
right.
Hudson Hawk.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so there you go.
Where do you think? See,
There's also a TV series of Alien coming out as well.
Is there?
From
Also
Noah
on Hulu?
Hawley. I assume so.
the guy who did Legion.
Legion, that's right.
That should be pretty good.
I agree.
So, what era do you think this is set in?
Oh, good question.
Do you think it's because we've had
Depends what counts. Because
It does, doesn't
Alien
it? Yeah.
4 is set like 200 years after 3, maybe?
yeah or something? Yeah, right.
And I think maybe they just might go 3 and 4 don't count.
Well, this might be because we are in an era of forget everything except the
Yeah.
first couple. I reckon they could very well do it. This is a sequel to Aliens,
Or, like Isolation, you could set at any time, really.
I guess you also could, and you could also say, okay, maybe this part of the universe, Alien 4, is happening, and it's very futuristic-y, but maybe in this corner of the galaxy, they're still, working on those rust bucket old ships, so it's aesthetically it's the same as Aliens or whatever.
Aesthetically, it looks like a Kmart.
That's right.
So that's what's happened here.
Did you know there are only 4 Kmarts left in the US?
I did hear that, and I was like, is that a joke that's going to play? Could I have said Walmart?
You might have said Walmart.
But I wanted to go more international.
Yeah,
And I figured people still know what Kmart is, even if there's only 4 left. It's
Trader
like Blockbuster,
Joe's.
Trader Joe's.
I feel our audiences are all coastal elites, so they would know what a Trader Joe's is.
I hope not. If you're a coastal elite, I'm not interested. You get out of here. Go back to your racks of beans, whatever they sell at Trader
Okay,
Joe's.
this new Alien will be set in an Outback steakhouse.
Perfect.
So now all Americans and all Australians can relate to that.
And that's everybody who listens to the show.
That's right.
That's my understanding of it.
But I guess, for real, James, for real. No
Okay,
mucking
let's get
around.
real.
Stop mucking around.
Like my real quote that you thought was going to be a joke.
yeah,
but it was real,
yeah. That was the realest thing ever.
A really good story with a bunch of
because Alien
characters.
Isolation is based around. It's a sort of a sequel and a reboot in the sense that it's Ellen. Wait, it's Ripley's.
Yeah, it's a
daughter,
sequel to Alien, but it's before Aliens. So she's looking for
her mother.
who
Right.
is frozen in space.
And she's basically the same character, and it's
Yes.
basically Alien again.
Yes. I never finished it. Did you finish it?
No, I never finished it.
Yeah. But, people like it.
People do like it.
I think I've talked about why I didn't finish it because I got the gun and it's like, you can't use the gun.
Right, yes,
You're not supposed to have the gun yet.
Yeah,
And I'm
right.
like, well, then what am I doing?
Okay, well then I guess, this is the last Alien-based question.
Okay.
Do you think there's going to be one alien or a million trillion aliens?
Wow.
Or somewhere in the middle?
I think somewhere in the middle. I think
Okay.
they'll be like, what's the sweet spot of this?
Yeah.
Probably aliens.
Sure.
And I don't necessarily know what that's going to look like in a Trader Joe's.
Sure, yeah.
But I think it's like a million billion is like,
it's too many.
who cares?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
they're like very disposable. You know what I mean? Whereas I think aliens hit the perfect amount of like, there's a lot, but they can't get in, so you only see like 8 at a time, maybe.
Yeah, right,
And I
yeah.
think they only had like 4 suits or whatever.
Yeah.
So-
Because I think they've had a lot of trouble in the sequels of like, what's the balance of like, okay, the first one was scary because there was only one and you didn't know anything about it.
Yep.
And the second one was a cool action movie. But in the later ones, in 3, they had to be like, okay, what if we went back to 1 again? Is that interesting? And then in 4, they were like,
Could be.
Yeah, in 4, they were like, a million billion again, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's this trade-off of like,
And then Alien Predator.
yeah, and once they become kind of disposable foot soldiers,
Yeah.
it's not as exciting anymore,
I agree.
Do you think they'll ever do a smart alien?
Smallian.
Yeah, Smallian. Do you think they'll ever do a Smallian?
Yeah, I mean, they are, aren't they? I mean, the Queen's smart.
I mean more of like a smart enough to communicate with humans.
Because it's got a chip, Mason.
'Cause it's got a chip
they
in it,
put
yes.
a chip on it. They're like, we're going to use these to man registers.
That's right.
A Trader
And
Joe's.
recommend things
Oh
at
no,
Trader Joe's.
one of them scratched the chip out and it's killing everybody
Oh,
in the
no.
Trader Joe's.
Who's going to recommend the Chipotle chili sauce?
We should have.
It's homemade.
We should have gone with automatic tellers.
Yeah.
We were trying to do the right thing.
But then we figured people would steal, and then we can trick. We got to convince them that they can't steal, so we put the aliens in. Oh no!
Anyway, lock the doors. We'll just let this sort itself out. Great stuff. Anyways, trailers ahoy. That's right. This is the segment of the show where we go, what trailers happening?
Right.
When are they happening?
What trailers happening? We
Yeah,
say.
That's what we say. I've got a couple this week. We got Bullet Train,
Yeah.
which is Bradley Pitt. He's back. And he's like, I do a movie every 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to do one.
What's my process for selecting a script? I don't know.
Yeah. You tell me.
Oh yeah, please.
So this
Sometimes I just wake up and I'm doing a movie. I don't know.
This is directed by David Leitch, Leitch.
Oh.
He did Deadpool 2. He also did, I think, Atomic Blonde.
Oh.
And maybe he did one of the Fast and Furiouses, but I don't know.
This does feel like a sort of this feels like somewhere smack in the middle between Deadpool 2 and Atomic
Oh, he did
Blonde.
Hobbs and Shaw. Boo.
Oh.
I wouldn't say that's his fault, though.
Well, he had the constraints of two indestructible men who have to somehow have a compelling narrative around them. So
He was also an uncredited director on the first John Wick. So he's done really good stuff.
Okay.
Anyways, what if Brad Pitt looked like a goofy knockabout guy in a bucket hat and a shirt?
Yep.
And by the end, he's in a singlet and his hair's all cool. And he's like, I've killed so many assassins.
give me my bucket hat back.
What do you think of this?
Looks fun. Looks a lot of
Yeah.
fun. And as I said, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's really in a lot of movies, isn't
Now,
he?
you
Sometimes
say as you said, but you're talking about a conversation we had off air. So
That's
people
correct,
are going
yes.
to be lost. They're going to be like, is there a prequel episode to this series?
and there is
Episode.
where we just sometimes talk about Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yes.
So, yeah, there's the cast of that is incredible as well. Some, are more recognizable than others, or some show up more. So it's also got, Zazie Beetz is in it.
Yeah.
Logan Lerman's in it.
From Deadpool 2.
Yeah, that's
Zazie
right.
Beetz, yeah.
Karen Fukuhara's in it.
Who's Logan Lerman?
He's from Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Is he Percy Jackson and
He's
the Lightning
probably
Thief?
Percy Jackson.
Is he Poseidon?
Yes. No,
Wow.
I don't know. No, he's the kid.
Jackson.
Yes. Brian Tyree Henry. Michael Shannon's in it. It's just an incredible cast. So I think,
Speaking of Bullet and Michael Shannon,
Yes.
a lot of people tweeted at us and emailed in.
well,
about
I've got a list. I've gathered a list for later.
okay,
Yep, no,
great.
tell us now, please.
Well, I was just going to say that was on the short list.
Yeah.
I'm like maybe too old,
yeah.
but he's got
What's
a
he, 50? Steve McQueen was always 50.
yeah, and then he died at 50.
He died at 50.
But Michael Shannon may be too old, but he does have that weird American cool where he's cool, but he's not trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And anytime stylists attempt to make him cool, it's a real disaster.
Also, he might be Canadian. I don't think he is. But he's one of those guys who
Well,
might be Canadian.
Sometimes that's more American than
Isn't it just?
than American.
Ryan Reynolds, Canadian.
Oh,
Yeah. Also, we got a trailer for The Bubble.
yeah, we did.
Now, just explain all this because I'm not going to.
Okay, so
I'm not going to.
Earlier in the week, many people may have seen on perhaps Twitter or something a trailer for something called Cliff Beast 6, where the 6 is then the S, and it had a seemingly all-star cast, and you're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
And it turns out that's the movie within the movie of the movie The Bubble.
Yes.
Which is it looks like Tropic Thunder. It's like a 2022 Tropic Thunder. It's a group of actors.
You could never make Tropic Thunder today, though. could
That's
you?
right, because it's already been made.
That's right.
And the blackface.
And the black.
And The Bubble is the premise seems to be that there's a group of actors, they were making a film, but then the pandemic happened and then they are all trapped in they're
in a manor.
they're in a
sorts.
manor and that's a sort of bubble and they're not allowed to leave, so they're like, well, we may as well make this movie, which has a lot of green screen and a kind of volume setup, and they're making this bad movie. But it's interesting because it's got an all-star cast. It's Judd Apatow, I think. But it's got Peter Serafinowicz and Karen Gillan and David Duchovny is in this.
Pedro
and
Pascal is in it.
All sorts.
Keegan Michael Key is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw the first trailer and I was like, oh, this is like a movie where it's like they're going to release this as if there's been 6 more of these in the past. You know what I mean?
Like
Naked Gun.
Leonard Part 6.
Thank you. Like Naked Gun 33 and a third or whatever.
Oh, sure.
And then when you arrived, which was a prequel to this episode, you were like, did you see this thing? And I'm like, well, what is this again?
You're like, I don't want to think about anything anymore. No, if there's more layers to this, I don't want them.
I don't want
I
them.
don't want them.
Yeah, so that's fun. And
Yeah.
and Judd Apatow hasn't directed something in a while, I believe. Not a movie, at least. But yeah, let's see what
I
happens.
know his star has fallen somewhat because apparently his daughter Maud Apatow was in that show Euphoria, which I haven't seen, but a lot of people like. And a lot of fans of her and that show are like, I heard her dad's a film director or something, kind of thing.
Oh, really? So
and I'm like, excuse me, the director of Knocked Up, maybe the director of the 40-year-old version, or maybe he produced that. I can't remember.
She's very good as well. Like, she's supremely talented, which makes sense because both of her parents are, and also she was born into Hollywood. So,
Yes.
you know, there are many
Is
opportunities.
Leslie Mann also in this?
I believe she
Cliffbait?
is.
Yeah,
I think she is. Yeah, so there you go.
What a cast. But I mean, why wouldn't you? If Judd Apatow calls, you'd be like, why not, eh?
So if you're Judd Apatow's wife and he calls you to be in a movie,
That's right.
what do you say?
You
can't make up an
Judd,
excuse because he knows.
Judd, you're in the other room. You don't have to call. You could just yell down the hall.
I'm busy with, all the things that I do because we're married. I'm having an affair. Judd,
busy with
having
that,
an affair. Okay. All right, what else we got here? Oh, Futurama news. Bender is back.
He is, it's true.
John DiMaggio, who
The charade is over.
I don't think it was a charade. Ask me if John DiMaggio has a quote about Bender, Mason.
James, does John DiMaggio have any kind of quote about Bender?
Actually does, yeah. I'm not going to read the full thing.
Don't read any of it. Don't worry about it. No, read some of it. All right.
Bender is part of my soul.
Read the part you didn't intend to read.
No, I don't have that.
Okay.
Bender is part of my soul, and nothing about this was meant to be disrespectful to the fans of my Futurama family. It's about self-respect and honestly being tired of an industry that's become far too corporate and takes advantage of artists' time and talent. Look, I wish I could give you every detail so you would understand.
You can. We have unlimited time, John DiMaggio.
No, he says, so you would understand, but it's not my place. Thanks again for the love, everybody. So they came to some kind of agreement. If you didn't know, if you haven't seen Futurama, because maybe, I don't know, you're one of the people who doesn't know who Judd Apatow is, which is fine.
Yeah.
You can be a person slightly younger than us.
That's true.
We encourage it,
but not
actually.
significantly younger than us.
No.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
God,
Who told you could do that?
Wow.
So, yeah, they obviously came to some kind of arrangement. I hope he got a lot of money for it, and I hope everybody else maybe got a lot of money for it too.
Do you think we get a check as well?
Yeah, I'll check. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, keep me updated. Yeah.
Check the mailbox.
Okay, great.
And then we'll know what is going on. So there you go. I mean, will it be good? I don't know. But everybody's doing it. So there you go.
It'll be at least okay.
I'll be happy with that. I still got to finish the last seasons that I'm got somewhere.
Yes.
Mason,
Hello.
what are your thoughts on the movie I Am a Legend, Mate?
I don't remember it being very good.
It's my home movies I'm talking about. I'm a Legend, Mate.
Okay, right.
It's just me running around my
Wow.
house with a cardboard tube.
It's you making spectacular marks.
A
But
specky.
they're very obviously staged.
over my kids.
Yeah.
A mark is when, if for people who's not in Australia,
When you catch the football.
when you catch the big football. No, it's a regular sized football. I mean, it could be big. You could
You could be doing for some sort of novelty, like you're in an
Yeah.
ad for Coles or something.
That's
The
right.
supermarket, like a
Exact-
Trader Joe's, but worse.
So I Am Legend. Yes, it is getting a sequel. Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are going to produce.
And
But
star.
Michael B. Jordan is going to star. Now, if you've seen that movie, which Mason has, he doesn't like it. I think it's okay. I think the ending, they don't really nail the ending.
Yeah.
But
I think it's bad.
spoiler alert, he explodes at the end.
Sure does.
He
Apropos of nothing, he just explodes.
Yeah, he
He's like,
Yeah.
run, everybody run, and I've got these guys. And he's like, I feel like I'm going to explode for no reason.
and then
Then he does.
The legend is that guy exploded for no reason.
And then this guy just freaking exploded. There's just a wise old man telling the children in this paradise.
Is this real? Is this a real story?
Yeah, he
I
freaking
don't know.
exploded.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, I wasn't there, but my mate said he just freaking
Yeah.
bang,
Went
bang,
Anyway, but if
like
you've
a big
seen,
melon,
there is a director's cut, or
like
it's
a big bag of custard.
there's a director's cut,
Yes.
or is it a deleted scene, or both? Where at the end he doesn't die.
Correct, yes.
He basically, so he's got a zombie that no, they're vampires. It doesn't matter.
No, see, here's the thing, though.
They're night stalkers.
They're dark seekers.
Thank you.
In the original
they're
story,
dork stalkers.
remember Darkstalkers? Remember the video game?
No, Mason.
Ah, it was
I don't
great.
remember anything.
No, that's true.
Because I'm
actually.
slightly younger than you. Our frames of reference are completely different.
That's true. Yeah. So in the original novella, they are vampires, and they're like proper vampires.
Yeah.
They're like vampires.
Some are
real Draculas.
Some
They're-
are more like brainless and undead, and some,
Yeah.
but there are more intelligent ones. You find out later on.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, see, no, because they're always talking to him.
Yeah, but no, there are like two sets. There is the set who come to his house.
Yes.
They can only say like...
No, some of them can talk.
No, they can talk,
Yes.
but only a little bit. But there are like regular intelligent
Yes.
vampires
Okay,
as
all right.
well. Anyway,
All right.
sorry.
I was going to say, but in the movie, they're just like weird, like fast zombie.
Yeah.
They're quite vague. I didn't like their vagueness. I guess they were like, uh-oh, dog's here.
Zippy's in here, running about.
Zippy has a cone on her head.
Zippy, are you causing trouble in here?
Hello, Zippy. Hello. Oh, my God, Zippy. James' podcast is cancelled.
I agree.
Hang out with Zippy.
It's dog time, everybody. If you came here for your Batman review, we're not doing it.
We're not doing it. We're patting the dog. Yes, Zippy, go. Zippy, come on. Come on. Now, Zippy, remember, I'm not the one kicking you out. I want to be friends forever.
Come on. Come on.
Wally's here too. Hello, Wally. Hello. Wishes.
Ollie.
Oh, you got to go too.
Ollie.
How those dogs even get in here?
The door was open.
Ah.
But dog time is over, everybody.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
And sorry to me.
Yeah. What were you saying?
I was saying that in the
They're
like,
vague, whatever.
they're some sort of hybrid. They're sort of zombies, but they're fast, and they seem unintelligent, but then it turns out they are intelligent.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which is why the alternative ending makes more sense. Because
Yeah.
he realizes that there's a connection. Because he's holding one of them, and that one is...
yeah, because I feel like the spoilers for a short novella that came out literally decades ago,
50s maybe?
Yeah, but it's about this guy who goes around and he kills a bunch of vampires.
Yeah.
Because he thinks they're all evil.
And he's the last man on Earth.
Yeah,
it
but
would
then it
seem.
turns out there's like a vampire society where they're not evil. They're just trying to get along with their lives, and he's been inadvertently killing a bunch of them as well.
Yes.
And he didn't know. So he's a legend because he's actually a terrible person.
Yes.
Inadvertently,
Yes.
and that never really comes across in the movie. I
No,
don't think.
not
and
at
that's
all.
So and it again, it's why would he say I am legend? Why would it even be called up? It doesn't matter. Anyway, they're doing a
I
sequel to this.
agree.
But
It's
I think
flawed,
what may be happening here is they've decided that the alternate ending is the real ending now. It
Yeah.
has been it's been far enough along that people have mostly forgotten about that movie
Yeah.
probably. And if you just at the start of the next one showed people the alternate ending from the last one, we would just go, oh yeah,
They'd be like, oh, yeah, whatever.
I guess that's, and you could even go, well, the real story and the legend,
Yeah.
that's sort of built in. You could go, well, you thought that actually he died, but the real story is he lived
Yeah. Because the other thing...
because he am legend.
We didn't like the other thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That we heard happened.
Yeah.
But so we heard
that
a
he
different,
exploded.
That we heard a different thing.
Yeah.
Also. Anyway, so I think that's okay because I think there's a lot of potential in that narrative. And what if they just did I Am Legend? Like they just we'll do it properly, all right? We'll do it properly with Michael B. Jordan this time.
I mean, does it definitively say sequel?
It says sequel, yeah.
Okay. But I mean, these days, the definition of sequel, reboot, remake, it's all a bit
What
muddy.
does it mean?
Maybe they just do the last one again,
Yeah.
but Will Smith is his father or something.
Yeah,
Or
I thought about that, but it was his kids died in a helicopter crash or something.
Maybe they didn't die in that helicopter crash.
I just thought of something.
Yes.
What if they didn't die in a helicopter
No, they
crash?
did, though, in the movie. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, can't change that.
Can we edit that
Can't
out?
change that fictional scenario.
Can we edit that out when I'd forgotten a thing that happened in the movie?
I mean, you can ask,
Okay.
but I'm saying no. That's
Well-
my vote.
It's gotta be, you got 50% of the
That's right.
of the podcast, and so we need a majority.
Yeah, and
And
we
that's
never
not.
get. We never get one.
Cool. There
Yeah.
you go. I just wish, Mason, I could cut back the time that I spent in the kitchen. Do you know what I mean? I wish I could retroactively remove that time.
Well, I mean, maybe you could cut out some of your bloody wine drinking.
He's not wrong, everybody. This guy is on the pulse. He knows me. But you know what? I can make some changes going forward, Mason.
Absolutely, you
For
can.
one, my wine drinking.
That's right.
And two, I can...
Put it in a hat. Put it in a hat. With one of
That's
the-
right. No,
your
I meant
foam
get rid
dome.
of it. But yeah,
Oh,
that's even better.
don't have to do any lifting.
So, you can spend less time in the kitchen with HelloFresh. And I
Hello
say that,
Fresh.
that's right, because their meals can be ready in around 30 minutes or less. Plus, they're quick and easy. You can also get something called, and get ready for this,
ready.
20-minute recipes.
Oh, hello. I wasn't
know.
ready, but I love it.
And low prep and easy cleanup options provide an even faster route to putting food on the table. HelloFresh is also 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal.
Heck yeah.
Of the same quality also. Because you'd be like, yeah, you ate brown rice. Of course that's going to be cheaper than a delicious meal. But no, they're both delicious meals,
That's
Mason.
right.
And you can save, on average, $65 per month when you order HelloFresh instead of grocery shopping. That's money back in your pocket.
That's right, and time back.
And time back in our pockets.
right.
HelloFresh offers 50 menu and market items to choose from every week, including veggie, fit and wholesome, family-friendly, and gourmet options, providing plenty of variety. Look, Mason, like I mentioned, they're quick, they're easy, they're good. Here's an example of all of those things. Your mum. Here's another example,
Whoa,
Mason.
you've
I'm
been
sorry,
on the wines.
That was rude.
You have been on the wines.
That was rude. She's a lovely woman. Loaded halloumi tacos with fries and smoky aioli. What do you think of that?
Hell yeah.
Hells yes. And actually, you can go to hellofresh.com/weeklyplanet16 and use code weeklyplanet16, as in 16, for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's hellofresh.com/weeklyplanet16. And it's America's #1 meal kit. Did you know that?
I did know that.
No, you double know it.
That's right. Add over, back on the wines. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, bottoms up, everybody.
Oh, hello, Fresh.
Feels like a long time coming, Mason. The Batman.
Am I getting fired again?
Yeah,
Is that-
you're out.
No.
You're out, and I'm in twice.
Okay, great. You can have two opinions.
That's
That are
right.
largely similar. And the second, but you really have to be reaching for that second opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's just you just have your notes there, and you're just like you're being a little thesaurus on the fly. Just, I thought this movie was grand.
Had a lot of spectacles. Does that work?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I don't think it didn't even have that many spectacles. The Penguin didn't even have little spectacles.
Well, it's early days Penguin.
yeah, he
We'll
probably
get into
doesn't
it.
have his signature spectacles.
Exactly. But I do want to talk about the box office of this. So the budget of this was $200 million. The initial estimates were it was a $100 million film.
Oh, yeah, that's
And after
right.
seeing it, I'm like, that cannot be true.
Right.
Like, surely not. But no, it is. So it's around 200. The box office for the weekend in the US is going to end up being between 120 and 130 million. That's bigger than the 110 million estimation.
Ooh.
And internationally, it's going to make around 111 million. So it's going to very much make its money back and then some, which is all the more impressive because there's a Batman movie every day. But on top of
True.
that, it's very long. So you
Yeah.
get less cinema sessions
That's
going
true.
at any one time.
And you get more people storming out to the 2.5 hour mark going, I demand my money back. And they're like, that's not our policy. It's 15 minutes. You get 15 minutes.
I mean, it just flew by because I enjoyed it so much, but I still want my money back.
That's right. It's me, a guy who exists. And I derive all my enjoyment from the first 2/3 of a movie, and then I demand my money back. It's a great scheme. You know there's got to be somebody out there who does that.
100%. If you just make a big enough fuss, they'll give you the money back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does this compare to the openings, I wonder? I don't know if you have those figures there, but let's guess without even
Okay,
thinking
I can
about
probably
it,
do that.
comparing to like previous Batman movies.
Let's
For
go-
example,
let's go the Dark Knight
The
opening
Dark
weekend.
Knight's Batman movie.
All right, let's have a look at that just quickly. But while I'm punching those numbers into my regular non-bat computer.
I would presume it's less just because pandemic style.
Yeah, so The Dark Knight made $158 million in its opening weekend in
Okay.
2008.
That's
so yes,
more.
Dark Knight Rises made 160. So yeah, so there you go. I think that's just US.
But it's not an insane amount less.
No,
I mean, it is.
absolutely
I mean,
not.
it's tens of millions of dollars, which is an insane amount of
Yeah.
money, but it's not like this made $11 million or
It
something.
was also going up against Uncharted, I think you'll find.
That's true. Greatest movie ever made.
And Colin Farrell's other movie where he's got a robot boy or something.
Oh, after Yang.
Yes, apparently
Yeah.
it's very good. Anyways, critics seem to like it on the whole, 85% Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences seem to like it at 90%. What do you think the story was?
Oh, no. You've thrown me for a loop.
You familiar with this segment of the show?
Yes.
Where I ask you what the story was?
Very much
what
so.
do you think it was?
Well, I mean,
I've given you wiggle room there because it's what you think it was.
yeah,
you
it's
don't
true.
have to be right.
Oh, I know. I'm aware of the concept of this bit.
It's not a bit.
You're giving me even more room now.
That's right.
But I'm not actually using it to think. Why would I? It's funnier if I don't, in my opinion. Not in anybody else's opinion, but in mine. All right, so it's Batman. Yeah, everybody knows Batman. It's Batman, but it's all early days Batman. It's 2 years into Batman being Batman. He's like, geez, I love going around beating people up as Bat. What are you doing?
I'm checking the Batman v Superman opening weekend. Did it look like I was pretending to type?
It looks like you were being a stenographer there. Like, I'm like, has he been writing down what I think the story was every time for years? Is he writing a book?
I am.
Is this the new Leonard Maltin movie guide, except it's just what I reckon the story was? Okay, so it's Batman.
Yeah.
And he's a couple of years in, and he's like, geez, I love beating people up as Batman. It's pretty good, but I can't be everywhere.
No.
So that makes me sad because I told my parents I beat up every crook in Gotham City, and it's, boy, but I'm gonna. There's all sorts of crime, and there's a new guy, and he's out there, and he's.
Would you say a new breed of criminal?
He's being a real Zodiac, this guy, and he's out there, and he's there, but I'm gonna defend Gotham City, which is the grimiest and greasiest city there is.
It's so greasy.
It's so greasy.
For reference, Batman v Superman made $166 million.
That's a lot of money.
Weekend, so there you go.
Gotham City in this movie, it is the world's largest industrial hot plate that's never been cleaned.
Oh, you are not wrong.
It's just, there's always a guy and he's like, well, I'm not cleaning it because that's where all the flavor is actually. All the flavor's in when you don't actually, because you clean it and take all the flavor away and you're like, I think you're actually poisoning people, man. I don't know. And they're like, nah. And then it gets shut down.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's Gotham City in this. It's the grimiest Gotham City we've ever seen.
Well, I think the idea of filming it in Scotland, it has like
the grimiest city in the world.
That's right. Well, we've seen like the city of Scotland. It's got a very like dark and gothic
Scott
aesthetic.
City, right?
Yeah, Scott City.
Yeah.
Which is, we have seen in particular like the Burton movies. I feel like for the Nolan movies, not so much the first one, it does feel like this is Chicago. This is a big wide Chicago street.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever. But I think the idea of filming
that's the signature Chicago. Big deep pizzas, big wide streets.
Exactly. But the idea of filming it in a city that is kind of like literally drenched in this like gothic history, and it's always raining and miserable.
I think they may have added a little bit of grease.
Oh, I think so, yeah, just over the whole city.
They just tipped all the fryers out in the chip shops
and let it
and
run.
then smeared it.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you think of this, though?
I liked it a lot.
Me too.
Look, a criticism that has been levelled at it, and I would agree with, is there's even less humor in this than in the Nolan movies. Like this is the most humorless Batman movie there is.
I think there is humor to be found, but it's not jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's moments in this which I thought were funny.
When he puts his little sunglasses on.
That's fun. But like the bit, and we've seen a clip of it where he punches Jim Gordon. And then
sure.
That's funny. And then afterwards he's like, you could have pulled your punch. And he's like, I did pull my punch.
I
think that is funny. There are moments.
Yeah, but I would say, that being said, I think that works in this situation. Again, like we always say, everything sort of tends towards grim and gritty, but we have had humorous Batmans in the past, and I'm sure we will again in the future. But I think that in the context of this world, I think it works because this is to some degree the long Halloween Batman universe.
Yeah,
it is grim and very serious, and it's 2 years into Batman being Batman. He's not necessarily having the greatest time of it. And also there's no Robin in this universe. Spoilers. No, and like I think, the idea of Batman lightens up when he has a Robin or the rest of the family around him to sort of provide a counterpoint. Like they push him more towards the light.
When he's outnumbered. Exactly.
And they're not there. They're not in this yet. So it makes sense that this is the grimmest part of his journey, And
one of the things I liked about this version of Batman and Robert Pattinson, who I thought was amazing in this, is that his version of Bruce Wayne does not exist. In the sense that Christian Bale had a fake Bruce Wayne that he used.
Yeah, right.
And he'd go out and pretend to get drunk and he'd be he'd have 4 women on his arm, whatever. Whereas this guy goes out in public and it's what's up with this fucking guy?
Right.
He doesn't know how to stand properly.
He's just exactly. He's just
he's out of the suit and he's just lost.
He's just a weird trust fund kid at this point, and maybe he'll develop that persona later. I think he will.
Yeah, I think he absolutely will. But I liked that where he just felt like that is absolutely unnecessary and I'm not doing it. But I think it is going to get to the point where it's people know you have money and people know you're strange. So don't you think that maybe people are going to make this connection? But even the idea that he doesn't look like he's had a haircut or seen the sun, having that I know people make fun of the long emo hair, but I took it more as he doesn't care.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Just I'll shave my head once a year. And that's my haircut, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly,
yeah.
And this particular Bruce Wayne, rather than living in Wayne Manor, sort of on the outskirts of Gotham City, he lives in Wayne Tower.
I thought that was interesting.
Which is right in the center of the city.
Yeah.
Which is, very useful for getting on his little motorbike.
It certainly is. He can get on his little motorbike. Well, what did you think about that? Because, okay, how about this? Did you think it was the most real-world version of Batman that we've seen. Because a lot of people have said that, like, it even goes a step further than The Dark Knight.
Yeah, right.
Where, you know, that at the time was very real world. And I would even say, like, the Tim Burton one at the time was also supposed to be that because in comparison to the 60s one, it was even realer.
Yeah.
I think
I think it is. I think it verges on being a real world. Like, I think the Nolan one did as well, but I think there's certain boundaries that you can't really cross. You know, in the way of, like, if you take too much away, if you're like, this is the real world, Batman couldn't really be Batman.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, what is he swinging around the city? You
Yeah.
can't, like, that's just not a thing you can do.
No,
you know?
he needs a bike to
Yeah,
get around.
right, exactly. Yeah, like, it feels, but I mean, it is still, you know, essentially comic booky.
Oh,
which I enjoy.
absolutely. And I think, like, the one element of it where I'm like, that we're not there at all is, like, I don't think this is really a spoiler, but they have contact lenses, which is like their cameras.
Yes,
So you
exactly.
can just
Yeah.
walk around, as opposed to putting a GoPro on somebody's head.
Yeah.
Or a button camera.
I imagine they probably toyed with the idea of, like, give him a body cam, like a police officer or whatever. But then there's elements in the movie where, like, okay, well, that wouldn't work realistically for a variety of reasons. So it has to be a magical contact lens.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, I just think they should have explained how it worked in detail, and that should have been at least an hour.
Magic.
Okay.
He went to the fifth dimension. He got them from Mr. Mix's Piddling.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine then. Well, also Matt Reeves has talked about.
Here you go, Bruce. Fiddle-dee-dee. You stepped out to pee. didn't
Yeah,
you?
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
that
did,
happened in the third hour. There's a revelation.
I'll tell you this much: I did not step out to pee, Mason, because I drank a regular amount of water, so I didn't need to go to the bathroom not once, not one time. I think I'm overhydrated and dying.
There's a lot of explanation there, which makes me suspect you just peed in your seat. Did you pee in your seat?
None of your business or anybody's business. It's between me and the cinema, which I'm currently in a legal dispute
and the
with.
3 people around you in nearby seats.
What I thought was terrific, and this I think can also be said for the introduction of the Batmobile, the introduction of Batman himself. I loved that build-up. So you've got the kind of multiple crimes happening across the city. This is very early on. And then there's, like, you see, like, a corridor of darkness, and you're like, he's here.
Yeah.
He's somewhere, but he can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
So where is he?
He's loving the idea that this Batman is loving the idea that he has sort of cast a net of fear over the city in the criminal element, and to a almost similar extent, just the regular populace of the city.
Yeah, they do not like
who
him.
are afraid that this masked man with electro gloves is going to beat them up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, he's loving the idea that when the bat signal comes on, people stop doing crimes because they're like, oh, maybe the patch of darkness over there.
Yeah.
Batman's there and he's going to stop me doing this vandalism or whatever.
Is it
he's
on-
going to pulp me
Yeah.
for doing this graffiti.
Is it on because...
I'm only doing a simple graffito.
Yeah, that's right. But, like, is it on because somebody saw me doing this?
Yeah,
is he
yeah.
watching me? What's happening here? Yeah, and also it's interesting that the group that he picks to take down, or he happens to be at, is the one that, like, is not afraid of him. Like, from then on, they would be, though, obviously. But I thought that was really interesting. And again, with the Batmobile, it's introduced like a monster. You know what I mean? It, like,
Sure, yeah.
It, like, revs up and the lights are going off on it and all those kinds of things. And I think he stalls it, or does he just...
That's a great question. I think
or does he just kind of, like, I don't know.
I think it was meant to be like I think it was meant to be played as if like it's a
Like a lurch.
like a tiger on a leash,
Yeah,
maybe
okay,
kind
yeah.
of thing. But aesthetically, this and I think probably also a lot of the fight stuff does play a lot like the Arkham games.
Yes.
I imagine that was I imagine there's a lot of
A bunch of stuff in
when
this.
they put these movies together. I imagine there's a lot of influences that just get put up on the wall. But Gotham as a horrible gothic nightmare, but also sort of Batman. His fighting techniques do seem a lot like the game.
Yeah.
Again, he does have those electrocutioner gloves.
He does,
Yeah,
exactly. But he's not the only one in this movie, Mason.
No, he is.
He's got. Oh, is he?
I turned away every time anybody else. As far as I'm concerned,
You
he's
don't
the
wanna
only
know,
person in this
do you?
movie. Yeah.
So he's already got a relationship with Jeffrey Wright's Commissioner Gordon. So he's already walking into crime scenes and having a good look around and solving riddles and the like.
What I liked about that a lot is there's a real tension because he's sort of you see this is in the trailers. You see him sort of walk amongst the forensics guys and the beat cops and like the other detectives and stuff like that. Some at a crime scene or at the GCPD or whatever. And there's a real tension there because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And he's not that much bigger than anybody else, but you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Like you can really feel like they don't want him there and they want to just knock him down and bust him for whatever crimes they can pin on him.
And you see that, like, you feel like he knows that as well.
Yeah.
Especially later on.
But they also don't know how he's going to react to anything. They don't know if he's got a gun, probably.
Yeah, that's right.
Or like what's on that utility belt? They don't know, kind of thing. And I felt that was a really effective tension that breaks sometimes.
I agree. And I think also the idea that you skip all of that relationship building with Gordon is a good thing. Because, if you've read any of the comics, if you've seen any of the movies, they just end up working together,
Yeah, sure.
And the fact that you don't have to explain how they got there, I think is good. There's a lot of shorthand we already know that we don't need to cover.
They're at that point where they are working together. They've clearly had some success with, the mob, but they don't entirely trust. Gordon doesn't entirely trust him because he doesn't know who the guy is.
Yeah.
And Batman doesn't really trust anybody. Like he knows that Gordon is a good cop.
Yeah.
But
beyond that, he's like, it seems, I don't even know if he likes Gordon in particular. I would say he probably doesn't, but he's like, this is the guy who will get me in the room.
I only like this one Nirvana song that I keep listening to over and over again.
We can talk about that because I think the soundtrack is amazing. And especially if you like that one Nirvana song. But as a whole, Michael Giacchino's score is amazing. Like real, and the Batman theme itself, it's like quite triumphant
It's
as well.
very, there's a couple of bars in it that are very Imperial March. It's the Darth Vader's entry music in the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And I think that feels deliberate because he's meant to, whenever he makes an entrance.
He's a big spooky man.
Danger is afoot. Here's an interesting thing.
Okay.
All the titles of the Batman's score songs are plays on words or puns.
Well, actually, I saw this with Oscar, who I retweeted his review.
Your best mate.
He's my best mate. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And he was saying that that's what he does. Like, he just does fun little puns on all of his scores.
Right.
He always titles them in really interesting ways.
So, for example, Can't Fight City Halloween.
Oh, very good.
It's Raining Vengeance.
Very good.
Crossing the Feline, Moving in for the Gill. There's a character named Gill.
Yes.
So on and so forth. Funeral and Far Between.
Oh, very good.
And etc. Highway to the Anger Zone. But also, I think, because I guess they are quite silly, but also you don't know them in the movie. And also this, I guess, prevents spoilers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you do, because otherwise it's just like, oh, Batman dies. Scene where Batman dies. Didn't they do that in a Star Wars once? Wasn't it like
the Qui-Gon thing?
Qui-Gon died.
Qui-Gon died.
Sword through the neck.
Yeah, it's actually the first track is called Qui-Gon Dies Later in the movie. Track number 1.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I think also, in terms of influences, I mean, you're talking about Star Wars and that. I know people have talked about, like, it's a bit like Chinatown. It's a bit Seven.
It's like 40 minutes longer than Chinatown, I checked.
That might be true. It might be true. Is it true?
Yeah.
It's true. Like, people have mentioned Zodiac, but I also think there's a lot of Saw in this.
There is, yeah.
Well, and I know that also Saw is also derivative of a bunch of stuff, and I know that, like, the code work and all that is very Zodiac and various other things. But I think maybe again it's the derivative thing, but I think maybe that's something that if you were borrowing from or you were influenced by, you maybe wouldn't mention that you were like, there's some Saw in this movie as well.
Sure, right, okay.
But I don't think it's a bad thing either.
You certainly wouldn't have any of your characters mention it.
No.
You're like, this is like a bloody Saw movie in here.
Saw movie, everybody. Let's talk about the Riddler. Let's talk about Paul Dano's The Riddler. Okay. He's always riddling about, isn't he? That's one of the main things that he's about.
That's right.
I thought his first entrance was like Batman, very spooky, kind of very, like, I don't know, felt also very sudden in a good way, you know what I mean? And I think the mystery is like surrounding that and why he was doing that and we'll talk about this in spoilers, but had a very kind of interesting, like, resolution. And it's not so much like, who done it? Who be doing this?
Because it's the Riddler.
Because it's the Riddler. But it's more
there
like...
aren't so many if I may, there aren't a lot of twists to be had in this necessarily, yeah.
But I think it's more of a why done it.
It is definitely a why done it,
I think that's...
Why Riddler done it.
Yeah,
this is a classic why Riddler done it.
Why he did this. Why do you think he did it?
Loves doing riddles and crimes, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it, yeah. And of course, Zoe Kravitz is in this as Catwoman, and I thought she was amazing also. I like... Really, really good Catwoman. I would love to see a spin-off of something with, like, just her.
Maybe a Catwoman
movie.
Maybe
a Catwoman. I've got a video where I talk about, like, all the sequels and stuff and things that could happen as a result of this. Apparently, like, very early days discussion about Catwoman. But if they did something like that Long Halloween spin-off, which we talked about on BigSandwich.co when we talked about Long Halloween.
The Long Cataween.
The Long Cataween. like if they had her in like you put her in Rome,
Yeah.
and she's doing like stuff there. You completely different setting, you know what I mean? Completely different set of criminals and good guys and whatever.
James, you forgetting the score, the ones that titled Catwoman Dies?
Oh shit, yeah.
Catwoman dies real bad.
Real bad.
Real bad in a way she can't come back from because it's
Yeah.
not that kind of universe.
Yeah, she's not like a literal cat.
Falls into a meat grinder. Quite early on,
Quite
10
early.
minutes in.
Speaking of, we're doing Catwoman this week for Caravan of Garbage, aren't we?
That's right.
Boy, that's a different kind of Catwoman,
Real
isn't it?
different. Oh, also, Johnny Tutoots.
Yes.
John Turturro as Carmine Falcone.
I
Very
had
good.
reservations about him, not because he's not a great actor, but because he obviously is. But the Carmine Falcone from the comics, he just looks different.
Right,
he looks
sure,
like
sure,
a big kind of Brando kind of looking mobster, where he doesn't really have that. But it was again amazing,
Terrific.
yeah, and real Italian
How do you
probably.
How
That's
do you,
all I am interested
how do you
in.
how do you feel about Andy Serkis's Alfred? Because we always get a slightly
Yeah.
different interpretation of
I
Alfred.
see. That's actually one of my few complaints about this. I wish there was more of him because there's a little bit of like, you're not my real dad or dad, etc.
Yeah.
Shut up, Alfred.
Let me just check the score. Oh no, here you are, my real dad, Michael Giacchino.
But then I think one of my favorite moments in this, and I think one of the real moments of humanity in this movie, is between Alfred and Batman, or Alfred and Bruce Wayne, where Bruce Wayne has to come to terms with like, he seems like he was kind of pushing him away because of what happened to his parents, and then he was
Yeah.
like, no, this is a person I care about, and clearly cares about me because he's helping me do this stupid thing.
Yeah.
And I just wish we had more of him because I really enjoyed him, and he's got a different haircut than any Alfred we've seen
That's
before.
right,
He's
yeah.
probably younger than. He's probably one of the probably the youngest Alfred we've seen in movies. That is, 'Cause he, in Gotham he's quite young as well.
Pennyworth.
Pennyworth, he's very young.
Very young, yeah.
Yeah, but what did you think of him?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, yeah, good,
Pretty good.
pretty good.
I think what you said encapsulated everything that I thought.
encapsulated.
I don't get it.
Speaking of, Colin Farrell plays the Penguin.
That's right.
If you showed me him, or I'd seen this movie, and you were like, I'm going to give you 50 guesses.
Sure, yeah.
Who is that?
Yeah.
I would not have got it.
Right?
And
He
he's
doesn't quite like the makeup doesn't quite rise to the level of like a Dick Tracy villain, but it's interesting that everybody
looks
else is
real,
just
though, right?
It's very
Still?
interesting. Yeah, it does. Like it's very interesting that he's the only one who gets a massive
Yeah.
like makeover.
Yeah.
and that's I would look. Maybe
You're asking why. Is that your question?
Well, I am asking why, but I imagine Matt Reeves has either explained it at length or will explain it at length at some point in the future. But I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I wonder if is it because he's seen Colin Farrell in things and he's like he's got a vibe that would work for the Penguin and now we get him in that, or did Colin Farrell come in and do a great screen test as the Penguin, but they're like you don't look anything like the Penguin, and you can't be a cool Irish dude who's cool and sexy and be the Penguin, so also we'll penguin you up.
Yeah.
How did that? Did he do the audition with shoes on his knees?
Great question.
How did he do it?
I think it's one of those situations where...
Did they get just every actor to come in and go wah 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 wah?
But I think it could have gone really wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate to bang this drum, but having seen Jared Leto in House of Gucci in his makeup, and the makeup's good. Or Guy Pearce in Prometheus. I mean, and they did him because he was supposed to appear younger in it. Than
Yeah,
what he
that's
ends
right,
up
yeah.
doing. But it could be really annoyingly pointless and distracting.
Right, yeah.
But they nail the makeup and he nails it,
Yeah.
so it kind of completely works for me.
Yeah.
And he's getting his own series.
Exactly. Yeah.
Imagine putting that on every goddamn day.
Right?
though.
Well, he did Hot Ones recently. I don't know
He
if you saw
did,
it.
yeah.
But apparently it started out taking 3 or 4 hours. They got it down to 2 eventually because they figured out. But that's a commitment every day. So it's usually 2 hours to put something on, and then it's an hour to get rid of it. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of commitment. And then you got to act.
And then you got to do your
You got a
acting.
full day of acting. And I think he said something to the effect of sometimes putting on the makeup can be kind of alienating. And sometimes I guess you wouldn't even know until it's on.
Yeah.
You'd either be like, this is kind of weird and alienating and I feel uncomfortable. But for some people, I think it's a case of I can be this character because I'm not me anymore, I'm this character. And I think it's also down to the fact that this is a really good, it's a mask and it's makeup and it's all from how he described it, it seems like it's all been connected correctly to all his like the
it's
muscle
like
groups in his face.
anatomically, like
So if he raises an eyebrow, it comes up correctly. Or
Yeah.
if he smirks, he doesn't have to adjust.
it's in pieces essentially.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's really good, and also it's a very dark movie, so that helps.
That's true.
Also, I don't know if you knew this, but one of the things they made use of, and because of the pandemic, it's not quite the volume, but they had these huge, like, I don't know if they were LCD screens, but something like that.
Oh.
So a lot of times when you're in like Carmine Falcone's office, or like they're looking out over a city, whatever, it's not a green screen. It's like
A
it's
window.
like giant. It's a window. They went to
Whoa.
a real big building.
Wow.
But I think that added so much to it, and probably helped keep down on cost as well. And again, when you're filming this, under lockdown, like little things like that really help. And also, as we've seen in like Star Wars and other places where they've used the volume, which might also just be Star Wars, you get the light bouncing off everything. You know what I mean? You don't have to take out like green screen reflections because it's all real light.
Yeah,
filtering
right.
in. I think that just made a huge difference.
There are some great shots of Gotham in this movie. So.
I recognize the city of Gotham.
Yes,
Yes,
same.
same.
No, but they still didn't do any like a big typewriter or something. I would love that.
I don't think this is the kind of world with a big typewriter.
They could do a big greasy typewriter.
Sure. Just covered in chips.
It's called typewriter fish and chips.
I wanted to actually ask you about like the look of Batman and the practicality of his suit. Like, I think it takes it like a step further again than Nolan, where that was very much like, well, this is an army suit and we're repurposing the Batman suit. Where this one, the intention was that he's handmade it, and it feels that way, even though you'd have to be incredibly talented at that. And it does look like
Alfred probably did it.
Alfred probably did it also, but it does look like he's just adding bits to it
As he goes. Yeah.
And it's
like
also
if he got
already,
stabbed here,
Yeah.
he'd put a plate on it.
It's already dinged up, in places, and he's got the eye makeup underneath, which I really appreciate.
They didn't shy away from when he takes the mask off. He's got I think even at the start you see him applying the eye makeup, or at some point in the movie you do.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think they meant to put that in?
No, I think that's probably a mistake.
Probably a mistake.
He's sitting in a chair that says Robert Pattinson on the back. So.
But even like, I loved like the use of his weapons, like the grapple gun. And when I say weapons, he just uses that to shoot people mostly, doesn't he?
Well, it's interesting because it looks very similar to the classic 89 grappling gun.
Yeah.
But it's also on like a holdout. So it's in his, and he's got two.
He's got two,
And
yeah.
they're in his sort of gauntlets, like the inside of his gauntlets. I guess which you can't lose them. So that's good.
Can't drop them.
Can't drop them. And also, and this is me just inventing, like we're no pricing this movie.
Yeah.
But if you do that, then you could say there's like a infrastructure in the suit.
Like a length of rope in it.
Well, not
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
even like cables.
Oh,
and
mechanically it's
yeah,
all
cables.
in-
It
yeah,
builds into the
right.
suit. So like
Because you couldn't practically put it into like a little gun.
and also
Yeah.
like. One of the questions you often think about with these kind of characters, if you fire a grappling gun and you swing off a building, you're dislocating your arm. Is
Yeah,
that what's happening?
absolutely.
But if it's reinforced
It's
throughout the
rigged into
entire
you.
suit,
That's interesting.
Then maybe you don't.
Well, you've solved a problem that I didn't know I had with this movie, Mason.
we're gonna see some articles about it.
No
we're gonna
doubt.
see some clickbaits.
I think also like we see the origin maybe of some of his other weapons or things, and one in particular. There's a moment where he blows out a fire extinguisher, and then it's like the smoke pallet.
Oh, yeah,
and then
right.
he's like, "I'm anywhere. Look, where am I now?" And I think like after that, he probably went, "That's probably a pretty good idea, and I'm going to do that from now on." Yeah,
Zippy's back.
the
folks.
dog's back.
Hello,
Everybody.
Zippy. Look at you. Remember, I didn't put a cone on your head. I'm the blameless one.
No, that was him, Zippy.
No.
Don't listen to him.
No, I wasn't. No, it was other people.
Right, Zippy, you're going to have to go out because we're talking about the Batman.
We are talking about the bat. There's no room for you, Zippy.
You're cute, but you're not cute enough.
Oh, Zippy, no, don't take Zippy away. Oh no, I wanted Zippy here forever. Wow.
There's one other particular aspect of the suit which I do want to talk about, but we'll
Peeing?
cover
Is
in
it so he
sports.
can
Yeah,
pee?
the peeing, yeah. I think he's just peeing anyway. It's just, you've seen that city?
Sure.
Who cares? Oh, he has a knife as well. But, he's got to have a knife.
Yeah.
You got to have a knife.
You got to have a knife in Gotham or Scotland.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think maybe we'll do some spoilers.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the action? Did we talk about that?
Well, let's talk about it right now.
Okay, great.
Good. I know some people have said that it's kind of like, it's too slow. You know what I mean? There's like because it's long shots like the way that Nolan would often do.
right,
But
right.
I've found like the way it was lit
Yeah.
and the way he moves and just like he'll pick up a gun or a bat and he'll hit someone in the head with it, then he'll drop it, and he'll hit the
Arkham
next
style.
Arkham style, exactly.
And it's also like it does feel very real in the sense that like not everything lands perfect, picture perfect, or like sometimes he'll be punching another guy and the guy behind him will just like take a few shots at him.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel as invincible as the Ben Affleck version did.
I mean, he's bulletproof.
Well, yeah, no, he is bulletproof, but
Ish.
yeah, but you know, and I'm not. These are different versions, and I like the Ben Affleck version. I do, but I feel like
Do you think Ben Affleck missed a trick by not having a Ben Affleck? Jeremy Renner star?
where you could get Ben Affleck updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely has. But they're different. You know what I mean? I think if this Batman was probably in a room where there were 20 guys and they all had guns, he'd probably not get out.
He'd probably shoot a fire extinguisher.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whereas Ben Affleck Batman will kill everybody in that room.
Yeah.
Whereas this version also doesn't kill anybody.
That's true.
Goes out of his way
Does
to
he
not
even
kill
accidentally
anyone.
kill anybody?
I don't believe so, but I might be
interesting.
wrong. And he hasn't not killed anybody since Batman and Robin, I believe, is the last movie where he hasn't killed anybody.
Interesting, right.
In live-action cinema release.
There
I
you
know
go.
people say, what about movies that went to other... No, stop. Stop and no.
And also, look, if we're gonna give a rating and then we're gonna talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say if I had one criticism, it is 3 hours long.
Yes.
And it does the
A
third
lot of
act-
people are saying that it's 3 hours long as well, aren't they?
But it's actually 2 hours and 56 minutes long.
I was about
And
to
it's
pull you
less,
up on it.
And it's less than that if you take the credits out, but also you probably want to stick around for the credits because there's a 2-second thing at the end.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a spoiler. If there's nothing at the
No,
end, basically.
yeah.
I
That's
don't-
right. You don't need to stick around. Even though I did a video on it.
Yeah, I feel kind of like there was either the reason it's so long is there was some studio interference, especially in the third act.
Yep.
Or that was Matt Reeves' intention all along, where we've got to put certain things in.
Yeah.
And because it's a certain type of movie.
I have a similar complaint.
And I think we should
which
talk about
can
the
talk
spoilers, but I think. I've seen people say, well, it's 3 hours long and you couldn't really take anything out. I think you could.
I agree.
I think you could take some stuff out.
Yep.
And I wonder if people will do that on their own.
Or just stop watching at that point.
Just stop. Well, they could do that. They could do that. It's their power to do so. But you'd look weird in a cinema doing it, wouldn't you? Especially if you hadn't
Absolutely.
seen it before.
Exactly.
But now that I have.
Let's do some spoilers.
Okay, I'm going to say best movie ever.
I
had a
agree,
good time.
best movie ever.
Again,
Would you
completely.
say it's the best Batman movie since The Dark Knight? The best solo Batman movie. The other one being The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is better than that movie. Look, again, like solid action. I like the Bruce Wayne. I like the Batman.
Yeah.
Supporting cast is really good.
Yep.
Soundtrack is good. Again, entirely humorless. Well, 99% humorless.
Sure.
But that's the style we're going for. And maybe in the next one he'll lighten up a bit.
You'll lighten up just a tad.
I wonder if we get a Robin in the next one.
Well,
I wonder if there'll be another one.
Well, there will definitely be another one. That's one of the things I talk about in the video I made, where Robert Pattinson's like, if they're going to do Robin,
Please, Robin Pattinson.
Robin Pattinson, if they're going to do Robin, they have to make him a kid. Because if he's
Yeah.
just like another guy he hangs out
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
so you bring in the kid, and then you're like, then you have to justify it, and then it's also because it's fucked up, you know.
It is a bit,
and the
yeah.
idea that you then have to go like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Is this for you? Is it for him?
Well, on the
What
TV
are-
show,
what are you doing?
on Titans, the TV show, they're basically like, yeah, Batman's a bad person. Like he's a bad dad. He shouldn't have.
He is.
He shouldn't have done this, and he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like the premise behind a lot of the episodes is like Dick Grayson and Jason Todd and etc. are not well mentally because they were drawn into a war on crime as children.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. To a guy who like gives them validation if they kick somebody really hard in the head.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, we're doing spoilers.
We are doing spoilers right now.
This is just a really little thing, but when Alfred was caught in an explosion of sorts, this was the kind of universe and like where I thought he could be dead.
Could be dead. Yeah.
You know? And then afterwards he obviously wasn't, and in hindsight I'm like, obviously they're not going to kill
Right,
him.
yeah.
But it did feel like the kind of world where like, maybe
we only have, maybe this is,
Yeah.
because I mean, spoilers for the comic books, Alfred has been dead for quite a long time.
Yes.
In the comics. He will be back, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
they've killed him before.
Yes.
And he came back.
as a robot butler.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Did he? I don't know. He came back in Batman and Robin as an AI.
On
but
the
then
TV,
But
yeah.
then he also came back
Yeah.
so they had two versions
Yeah,
of
yeah.
him. Yeah.
But I'm wondering, because it's actually been quite a while. And I think when
I wonder if
Alfred...
they'll do that in The Flash.
I'll bring him
they'll
back.
bring him back using like archival footage on a computer screen.
Oh, maybe.
It's like an AI
Yeah,
Alfred.
maybe.
Anyway, they could. Anyway, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, in the decades ago, they killed Alfred because I guess they thought they didn't need him anymore.
Yeah.
And then they brought him back as like a villain but he was Alfred, but he lost his memory, and then he came back as a villain, and then they and he remembers again, and then he was fine. So I'm wondering if they're going to
After Batman punched him in the head.
Yeah, absolutely, so many times. I'm wondering if they're going to do that in the present day, but just like a more elaborate version of that.
Okay.
He did get his neck broken, so I don't know.
That'll get you.
Maybe clone him though.
That'll get you also.
That'll
That'll
get
get you
him
back in the game.
Yeah.
Should we talk about why the Riddler done it?
We should talk about why the Riddler done it. How do you feel about this? This is a spoilery thing, I think. How do you feel about how easily everybody solved all his riddles? Batman just knew all the riddles.
Well, he's Batman.
He is Batman.
That's
true.
what I
really
figured
think
out.
there should have been a C for Catwoman one, though.
Oh, absolutely. But like, I feel like as an audience member watching it, there is no time as an audience member to puzzle out. They're not giving you the clues to the riddle so you can solve them.
No, that's
it's not
true.
for you.
And I think as a detective, I think this was the best iteration of Batman.
Well, that's something we haven't talked about,
as a
really,
detective.
yeah.
As a detective, and I guess it wasn't really about solving the riddles. It was more about, or some of it was. Some was about solving those ciphers.
Some of it was about riddles.
But
Yeah,
some of
you're
it was
right.
about riddles, but it was more about why is this person doing this, and then we sort of trace the why back to the man.
Yeah.
And I think that was good detective work, I thought.
But I think it also, like, there were breadcrumbs there which do pay off. See, at the opening scene with Ave Maria,
Yep.
somebody is watching a particular person they're going to kill. It's the Riddler, and the person he's going to kill, whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it turns out that the Riddler has just been perched outside of that nightclub the entire time. And it's like, well, yeah, he would be, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Like, that's really,
Yeah.
it's an obvious thing to kind of, to do. And I like little things like that where he's just kind of camped out at the different places because, yeah, he would need to do that. And also the fact that I like the idea that he was doing it, he thought he was doing it with Batman.
Yeah.
That the clues he was leaving him was not to be caught.
It was to be
so
like, I'm doing
You
some
get
great
this,
work.
right?
You get it right. And I read one thing that I did very much like is the fake out where we think that he's figured out that Batman and Bruce Wayne are the same
Yes.
person because he's like Bruce. Like they finally have that meeting a la the Dark Knight in between a pane of bulletproof glass, and he's like Bruce Wayne. But then he's like, you and me, Batman, we got them all except Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very well done.
I also thought that it's possible that he knows he's Bruce Wayne at this point. Like, he figured it out and went, oh, this maybe isn't the person that I thought it was.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's that, but often, like, villains will discover his identity and just be like, I don't care.
Well, I believe, unless they've changed the continuity, which they probably have, that he did in Hush. He did figure it out, right?
Yeah.
He knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he can't tell anybody because Bruce Wayne will get him.
And it's also a riddle. Like, what's the point of a riddle if everybody knows
That's true, yeah.
the answer? But I
C
also,
for Catwoman.
I also think it could be possible that, which is what it more likely is that he's not all-knowing.
Yes.
And so he cannot make the connection between why would this man who he thinks is helping him be the same person who's one of his enemies?
Yeah, right,
He
right,
cannot,
right.
he
Yeah,
cannot put those two
I
together.
think that's
and that's
very much the
probably
case,
I would say. And I also like the introduction, I guess this is more of a modern day thing, where he's built a fan community online.
Right, yeah.
Small, but dangerous enough where 20 guys will dress up as him and try and shoot the mayor.
Yes.
And I think I didn't expect something like that, something that I guess has been you see it in like terror attacks and white supremacy groups and all, and even I guess good communities.
Sure.
People build like a loyal following, and I just didn't expect them to do that.
Planet Broadcasting, great
Perfect,
mates group,
thank you.
Facebook group. Yes, please. I like that in theory, but I think in execution, why my biggest issue with this movie and the length of this movie is that I feel like one of the initial ideas for this movie I feel must have been they catch the Riddler and that is the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But then somewhere along the line, somebody said, whether it was studio executives or Matt Reeves or somebody or test audiences, they said, okay, but we can't just have we can't have an action superhero movie where we catch the bad guy and they go to the asylum and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Even though that's how a lot of Batman comics go.
Yes.
We have to have him punch 20 guys.
Yeah.
And so they went, well, we've got a bunch of extra Riddler costumes lying. We got half a dozen Riddler costume doubles. So let's just have them show up. And there were elements that were never introduced in. It felt like the last part of the last act wasn't very integrated into the rest of the movie.
Okay.
In the sense that they're like, well, we've got you, Riddler. And he's like, yeah, but I put bombs on the seawall. What seawall? When did that happen? Like, I guess maybe there's an establishing shot that I missed, but I'm not an architect, and I wouldn't have looked at that and gone, well, Gotham City's going to go underwater if those seawalls ever blow up.
Seawall.
There's certainly a seawall there.
It's also a plot point of Year Zero, the comic. The Riddler does a similar thing where he floods the city. Okay. That's not to say that they didn't include this like later on, because the elements that connect to it, as in where like Batman, I think it's Batman, finds his computer and then he sees all the people following and they're like, what kind of guns are we getting? What are we up to?
Yeah, right.
Like you could easily put like those two things
That's true.
in later on.
And I mean, maybe this was always the plan, but I feel like it feels ultimately because they went, well, we have to have a big fight at the end because otherwise people will be like, what a rip-off. We needed a big spectacle.
Because it does kind of become a different kind of Batman movie in that point, I would say. Not so different, but it definitely like ramps up.
And also another issue I had with that is also like the guys he fights at the end are just randos. They are people on the internet who they're his followers.
Yeah.
But also like who are they to Batman? They're even like the idea that
I think they're just an extension.
Yeah,
of the
I know,
Riddler,
but the idea
right?
also that they wear exactly the same thing down to the glasses.
Yeah.
Really felt to me like they were like, we got costumes lying around. Like if they'd reveal, like if, and I think at one point one of them the mask comes off and they're like, I'm just a nobody or something, or I'm whatever it is, and it's just like it would make more sense if we'd seen any of those people prior.
I thought, and I don't know whether this is true, that guy might have been the guy he spoke to at the funeral. The guy in the crowd is like these rich people and whatever.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know if it's the same guy because his head was all taped up.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know whether that's actually true. But I think also that then led into what I liked about the finale, where he's helping people. And whereas at the start, when he saves that person, the person's just like, please don't beat me up. And he's like, why would I beat you up?
And at the end, he's like, I'm going to rescue you and not beat you up.
And
they're like, why would you bring up the beating up part?
But then he gets the idea of like, it's not enough for him to be terrifying. He needs to also be seen to the people who are good as a force for good. And that doesn't necessarily mean he has to beat up 20 guys, I guess. But I think I like that story arc of the character where they're like, I can be nice.
Yeah. Sure.
As a necessity, if it makes me do my job better, I guess.
Yeah.
But
just going to tape a big smile under the front of my cowl.
But the bit that I felt was tacked on, was the Joker.
Yeah.
I really...
Now that's Barry. Is it Cohen? How are we pronouncing
Barry
that?
Keoghan? I'm not sure.
We get it wrong every time. I'm having looked at it and being mocked for saying Barry Keoghan in the past. I think it might be Barry Cohen.
Done. There you go.
With a K. He's Druig. Folks, it's Druig.
It's Druig, yeah. It's Druig is here, everybody. And he apparently there is a deleted scene.
Yes.
Which they deleted.
Oh.
Fun fact. Where it was earlier in the movie and he goes to Arkham to talk to like a proto-Joker.
Okay.
So he's not quite fully Jokerized.
Hasn't been Jokerized, okay.
But he's had a heart defect since birth, which causes him to smile all the time, and that has led people to react to him a certain way. And he's really good at reading people, but he's not quite the Joker yet. And apparently, he's based very much off The Man Who Laughs.
The original,
which is what the original Joker was based off. And the idea, I think, of putting in that scene, which is, I guess, similar to what they did in the Long Halloween, where he visits Calendar Man. You visit somebody who's similar, and go, "What's going on?"
Right.
I think that speaks to a wider universe and what might come in a sequel and feels less forced than the two villains get together and go, ha, we're friends!
Right. I see what you're saying, but also I would imagine if you put the Joker, it's Chekhov's The Joker.
Yeah.
If you put the Joker in at the start of the movie or at the midpoint, I think everybody would expect that he would pop up at the end and be like, oh, you thought you'd gotten the Riddler, but also I'm here. And I've got a big gun with a boxing glove on the end.
You're probably right, but also just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't put it in.
Yeah.
And be like, he might be in the next one. We don't know. Yeah. And that's not to save anything about his performance because I don't really have a problem with any of that. And we didn't really see him. So I don't know what exactly they were going for.
Look, and again, if I had one more, if I'm going to harp on a little bit more about the Riddler, I think it would for me I would be much happier with the Riddler clones if they were like maybe low-level thugs that Batman had beaten up earlier.
Some were cops, maybe.
Some were cops.
Like
for sure. Like anybody, you know.
And maybe they were. We don't know.
Well, that's true. We don't know. They were just randos.
Yeah. No, I think that's a solid point. But I did like the bit where he burst through the ceiling and then started beating them up until he got overwhelmed.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
that's
because
true, yeah.
again, that's probably what would happen. You know.
And if I had one more criticism,
You seem like you said you've got a lot of one more criticisms, Mason.
right? Well, this is my segment. One more criticism until I've forgotten what I was talking about.
Okay, great.
He is pretty bulletproof.
Yes, he is.
I mean, and again, with the fight at the end, it seemed like maybe the constant being shot was slowing him down a bit.
Until
but again, there's what the problem is that there's.
Did you like how he had adrenaline or something though?
Oh, that's a good. Or was it Venom?
Do you think so?
Maybe.
I don't think in this universe. Maybe like a.
It was very weird looking.
It was weird looking. You're right.
Right.
Maybe it was just a glow stick.
For people who
Was it from the movie Venom? Yes.
yes, it was from
That's
the
what
movie
you're
Venom.
thinking.
Yeah, or it was Edward Cullen's Venom.
Oh my goodness.
Twilight.
I remember the Twilight
Yeah.
movies. We talked
I
about
think it
them.
might. So for people, because there's different continuities and all sorts of different versions of Bane.
Yeah.
But in the original comic books, Bane is gains superhuman strength from Venom. But prior to the introduction of Bane, there was a storyline called Venom where Bruce Wayne takes a lot of venom, and he's like,
That's a
I'm
good point.
gonna be a better crime fighter with all this venom.
Yeah.
And he's not though.
And I reckon it makes my back stronger.
Yeah,
And that's how it's going to stay. I
That's
reckon.
right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I
So
didn't
maybe
pick up on
it
that
is.
at all. Yeah, there you go. A couple of things that I guess I wanted to point to touch on, which I quite liked. Falcone being Selena Kyle's father. That's sort of the Long Halloween
Yeah.
universe, and some other universes probably where it may or may not be the case. And I liked the bit how he sort of can fly, but not really. Boy,
Yeah.
you only want to use that if you have to.
That's true.
Because it's a disaster.
That's interesting. Yeah, he had rather than have the electrically primed glider suit that he had in Dark
And
in
this
the Dark
is what I
Knight
mean
trilogy.
about being like a step even more real world.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
that.
So
Man,
instead of
the
that,
next version is going to be
yeah.
so real world.
That's right. Instead of that or anything else like that, he has a sort of he's got some zips on his cape, I guess,
Yeah.
that can turn his suit into like the classic squirrel suit.
Yeah.
What do you call those?
think they have
It's
those
like
squirrel
a special forces like paragliding situation.
Yeah.
Where you put your arms out like a big squirrel.
They're in
and
some
you
of the
sort
Michael
glides.
Bay movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you sort of glide, sort of.
He would have gotten away with that too if he hadn't hit that bridge.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, he did get away with it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I wouldn't have aimed for the moving truck. I would have aimed for the bridge.
That's interesting. That's probably why
The top of the bridge, not the bottom of the bridge.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But I guess he was like, if I hit this truck, I can get it. It's a quick exit.
He was also going like 100 miles an hour, so he probably didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah, true.
Also, install a parachute, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better idea.
Also, there was that one moment where it's like the shot of Batman's face, and it did look a little bit ridiculous.
This Digby Chicken
Caesar
thing.
syndrome. Yeah, exactly.
We
yeah.
do love a bit of that
Yeah.
here, don't we, Mason?
Could have cut that, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. All right. Look, I've got some feedback here.
Go on.
Just on our podcast, what
Oh.
they think of us. No, this is people, they've written about the Batman.
Okay.
Craig says, the Batman might be the first Batman movie about Batman. Not the villains, not Gotham, not even Bruce Wayne. The focus, often literally, is completely on Batman. I really loved that. I think that's a great point. Scott Milton Art says, finally a Batman that embraces the silliness instead of running from it. It was dark, but he was still a hero. Felt like the comics and cartoons come to life. Best movie ever. Best Batman ever. Average Dawdler says, loved the Batman, but be honest, guys, if it was a Die Hard sequel, how would you rate it? I mean, better than most of the Die Hard sequels.
Yeah, I'd say probably
particularly the
right
last
up
one.
there with probably the first couple.
Better
yeah.
than Die Hard 2, at least, as well.
Yeah,
I don't know that. I don't think
yeah.
that's a great Die Hard movie. Josh says, watching The Batman felt like reading a high-quality graphic novel like The Long Halloween. It had the perfect mix of gripping mystery, disturbing twists, and bleakness with just a sprinkle of hope at the end. Robert Bat is batting 1,000. And Mike D says, just got out of The Batman.
From the Beastie Boys?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's Mikey Dawson, but yeah, just got out of The Batman. My favourite part
That's
was...
not Mike D from the Beastie Boys.
We don't know that. Was on the internet, you can be anybody.
That's true.
It's like the movie Ready Player One, you can be anybody.
That's very true.
My favorite part was when my girlfriend at Merida Lorraine turned to me and pointed out that the Batmobile was way better than a sensible Volvo.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is what, of course, Edward Cullen drives.
Yes.
Those wonderful Twilight movies. Do you have anything else to say about the Batman?
No.
Cool. Okay, how about this, though?
Go on.
Why don't we talk about the sequel and what we might be getting?
Yeah, okay.
The city is
Joker?
I guess. Again, I've got a video on it.
Uh-huh.
It's a more hopeful version of Batman, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
The city might still be flooded or might not.
Yeah.
Could do the Joker. Might do Hush. There's some kind of like
Yeah.
Thomas Elliot, and that we literally see the word hush, and there's a few characters where you're like, is that Thomas Elliot? Maybe.
I think I saw somebody on the internet be like, maybe the villain in this should have been Hush.
Well, yeah, they're not dissimilar in terms of motivations,
But
and
also, do you want that as I don't think you want that as your first villain in this universe.
I guess that makes sense. And a lot of people have been saying, including me, that is the Court of Owls among this somewhere?
Oh.
And I know,
For people who don't know, Hush was a childhood friend of Batman.
Yep.
Or Bruce Wayne rather, who eventually surgically alters his face to look like Bruce Wayne.
Because
He's crazy.
it's crazy. Yeah. So I know the cast as well have talked about Court of Owls and how they love that narrative, and there's definitely room to do something with that because you can just be like, they were here all along.
Right.
We did the Riddler.
That's why Gotham sucks and is so greasy. We put the grease on everything.
I have an owl mask.
Think about an owl. What's the thing about an owl? They're greasy, aren't they? Excuse me, what? No, they're greasy. Yes. You ever petted an owl and you're like, oh, this is greasy.
I think your hands are greasy. I don't think it's
No,
the owl.
no, it's the owls. I've based this whole thing's based on greasy owls. So if owls aren't greasy, then
Why are you called Court of Owls and not the Greasy Owls?
oh,
then?
I've got to rethink a few things. Oh,
I'll give you this. You're very greasy.
thank you, thank you. I am.
Anyways, if you have any opinions,
We've got a great team that greases up all the suits.
if you do have any opinions, we'd love to hear about anything in the
Yeah.
sequel. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about this movie and
I
all
would
its
love to.
sequels forever.
I would love to see a Mr. Freeze in this.
Oh yeah, he's also talked about that as well. Yeah,
Just give us. I don't care how you do it.
yeah.
Give us a weird.
What if
freeze.
they didn't do it? Would you care about that then?
Yeah, I'd be mad.
Oh no! All right, cool.
What's an out of the box villain? Give us a Clayface.
Clayface is.
Have they done a live action
If
Clayface?
no, not in movies.
But
obviously.
you wouldn't have to do like a
You
giant.
do actor Clayface.
No, I think. Well, maybe, but I think you. Oh, are you saying because we can't have any superpowered?
Well,
things?
they're saying that that's probably not what they're going to do.
I
Doesn't say
reckon they
can't.
could do. I reckon it wouldn't. You could. I think you could do actor Clayface, but I think you could also do. You could do weird malleable face guy. I think.
Okay.
I don't think that would be
Yeah.
too far. Like he doesn't turn to clay or whatever, but he can just force his face into different configurations
'Cause he's so greasy.
Because he's so greasy, and then he uses makeup and a wig or whatever. And
Okay.
he's more a chameleon kind of character.
Oh.
That's a different character though, obviously.
That is true.
But just give me Mr. Freeze.
I would love to see
Just
Mr.
weird,
Freeze.
hunched over Mr. Freeze, and he's got his big helmet on.
Because we've never seen Mr. Freeze in a live action movie.
That's
have
true.
we?
That's true.
I wish we had.
but we haven't.
I wish I could look to something and go, there it is.
No, you can't though.
Even if they did it badly, there it is. We can't.
That's true.
Anyways, let's move on to the next segment of the show, Mason.
Okay.
What do you think it's called?
I think it's called What We Reading.
Yeah.
What We Gonna Read.
I love how you think, Mason.
Thank you.
It makes me think.
Thank you.
I'm doing the thing. Westworld? Well, this is big, Mason.
Is it?
This is the segment of the show where we talk about the other things that we've been reading, or
mean, it
watching, or
is.
listening to. This is
Huge.
This is huge for us. This is a big opportunity for us to shine.
Are you
and
reckon?
show our knowledge of things. Just in all genres.
Do you reckon if we show our knowledge of things,
Yeah.
we'll get like a cool gig?
Yes.
Like it pays a bunch of money?
That would, man, imagine having a cool gig.
Oh my god! Because
Yeah.
they say like everybody's got a skill, and all you have to do you want your side hustle. You just have to monetize that skill.
It's true.
And my skill is I can go to the supermarket.
Yep.
And I can buy like a carton of eggs, and I can put it in the fridge. And then like a couple of months goes by, and I open the fridge, and I'm like, oh, I can't
Can't eat those eggs.
eat those eggs. Have gone bad.
You're doing
now.
6 eggs at a time? How many eggs are you doing at
Yeah,
a
maybe
time?
six.
Why,
or
and you're
12.
still not using them?
Yeah. Do you think I can monetize that though?
Can you monetize
Do you think
that?
my side hustle could be buying eggs and then not knowing?
Well, it's monetized in the sense that there's money changing hands, but I guess the
That's
problem
true.
is it's going in the
The
different
flow is
direction.
the
Yeah.
flow of money is.
But
in
if
the
you could
wrong-
somehow
reverse the flow,
like
reverse
if you were giving the eggs,
if I could reverse the polarity
Yeah.
of the egg money transaction. yeah. If I could keep them in the fridge,
Yeah.
and then I could sell them off at a profit.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Maybe you could freeze them, keep them for even longer,
Oh, that'd be great, yeah.
and then chuck them at cars, frozen eggs.
And then
Is that anything?
Yeah, that's something I reckon I could monetize. And then I could put that on TikTok probably.
That is
and I
true.
could get a sponsorship.
Bigfrozeneggs.com.
Right.
All right. What have you been doing though?
I've had a little bit of time off.
Yeah.
So I've been getting into a bunch of stuff. So
Wow.
Trouble first of all. So we mentioned Kingsman, I think, recently. We watched
Yes, we did.
Kingsman, and then you recommended the Mark Millar comic book King of Spies,
Oh, yeah,
which is
good
about
too.
a Pierce Brosnan-looking James Bond-style spy who decides that he's going to work against Queen and Country and get rid of all the bad guys he's been protecting all over these years.
Yes,
so,
yes, yes.
so I read that. It was really good.
Is it finished?
Don't think so.
I wouldn't know because Comixology is fucked still.
No, it's not finished yet.
Thank you for people for sending their recommendations for other comics apps.
Or recommendations for stealing.
Or stealing as well,
Yeah.
which I'd rather not. But I guess I wouldn't have a problem with stealing things I already own.
That's true.
But there's not something that's just like everything. Do you know what I mean?
That's
In
true,
a way,
yeah.
and that's what's annoying about Comixology. Yeah,
that's how they get
you.
you.
They get you, exactly.
But I was like, well, I should catch up with a bunch of other Mark Miller stuff that over the years I've maybe read the
Sure.
first issue and then gotten busy, and I'm like, I don't have time for.
You're busy.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't have any time off.
Didn't have any time off.
Until
So
now.
I read, so I'm up to date on Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, of course, the superhero universe that got a series on Netflix and then it was immediately cancelled.
I remember that.
But we're halfway through what I think is the final volume called Requiem, which is essentially, it's set further into the future of the universe.
Yeah.
And we are, there's more bloody strife, as you might imagine,
Wow.
but it's also, we might be leaning towards the origin of why they got their powers, because they went to it's these group of people in the Depression and they went to this mysterious island. They come back with superpowers and they're like, we're going to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
But we don't really know why that was. Like, why did this force come down and give them the
Yes.
power? The only issue is they've done 6 issues of this. There's 6 more to go. And in the first issue of this, because it's like from months ago,
Yeah.
there's a note from Mark Miller and it's like, right now, Jupiter's Legacy, it's #1 on Netflix. We're flying high. And a part of me is like, they've done 6 and they're on a break. Will this ever
Is this
come
gonna
back?
come back?
And I
Yeah.
think, they've committed to it to this
There's
point.
been other things as well in that universe as well, right? They've done prequels and
yeah, a little
other
bit, yeah.
things going on. Yeah.
Super Crooks, I think, is in that
Yeah,
universe.
well, exactly.
And
Well,
there's
that's also on
There's
Netflix.
Jupiter's Circle, which was the prequel.
Yes.
But hopefully they'll finish it off.
Did you see, I haven't read any of the sequel stuff, so would you say it's as good as the regular stuff?
Yes.
Cool. Because I like that comic quite a bit. Yeah.
I also I also read Reborn.
Yep.
Which is the one. You've read most of these?
Which
I think.
one's Reborn?
Reborn is the one where there's a very an old lady and she passes away.
Oh, just in a weird afterlife or whatever.
But her afterlife is this fantasy sci-fi realm.
Yes, I read that
where she's ended up in the realm of good, but there's also a realm of evil.
Yeah.
And the lot of people she knew in life are in this universe
Hmm.
as well, and it's kind of complicated. I also read Starlight, which is the Buck Rogers one.
I like that one a lot,
Which
yeah.
is a
I thought Reborn was a bit scattershot. It was a bit like, this is everything.
well when you
No?
read a bunch of these in a row. I like them a lot, and they're all there. What if you read Mark Miller years ago and you're like, this is a bit edgy and I don't like it? I think his newer stuff
Yeah, I
is
don't think it's
more
like that
is
at
more
all.
earnest. I think, and they feel to me they're more fun because they're less like this is cruel stuff happening for no reason. But they all do, and I think what maybe one of the reasons for that, I think he's definitely matured and improved as a writer, which I like. But I think it's also because Miller World has sort of turned almost entirely to pitches for movies and TV
totally.
shows and stuff, and it's kind of like you get better results if it's PG-13 kind of thing.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Starlight I really liked.
Yeah, Starlight is the one where he is a man who was a Buck Rogers style hero. He got beamed to another world and he saved that world, and then he came back and nobody believes him. But then the aliens come back and they're like, "Hey, we need you to save our planet again."
And he's like, I'm old.
I'm old, but I'll do it anyway.
I'll do it with my back, but I'll do it.
I read Huck, which is the Superman kind of guy, and he does one good deed a day in secret.
Superman, but he's Forrest Gump.
He's Forrest Gump a little bit,
Yeah.
and then the world finds out about him, and etc. But I'm also reading one last thing, James.
Wow.
Is I got a copy of it's called Blood, Sweat and Chrome: The Wild and True Story of Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh.
Which is a book. I don't know if you've heard of books.
Isn't Charlize Theron like, why are you so late, Tom Hardy? I'm going to punch him in the head.
So it's essentially it's an oral history of the movie Mad Max Fury Road, compiled from mostly new interviews
and
with
you
the
know
cast
some
and
people who worked on that, right?
No, a couple of people have worked on that. There are a couple of people are in it actually. And it's essentially, it's the story behind a movie directed by George Miller, who at that point had given up on the Mad Max franchise well, he hadn't given up on it, but he hadn't made a Mad Max movie for
He'd been
decades.
trying for like 20 plus
Yeah,
years,
and it's a story of like him attempting that and getting offers to do a TV series and all this sort of stuff.
It's going to be
And-
animated at one point.
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
and all this kind of stuff, and then producing what nobody expected, which was an amazing action movie.
Yeah.
Which it's in the book, but there's a quote from Steven Soderbergh.
I know
that
you
said
said producing, And I know you meant in terms of he made it.
Yes.
But I think some people might be like, he didn't produce it, he directed it.
He produced
So
and
I'm just
directed.
going to-
I know.
I'm
Yes.
just going to say
Thank you,
that.
James. Thank you. You've saved me muting some people on Twitter this week, so that's good. But Steven Soderbergh famously said of the movie, and I think I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, it's amazing they're not still shooting this movie, and it's amazing that hundreds of people aren't dead. So, yeah, and that is really true. And it's very fascinating. So it's basically a bunch of new interviews and some archival stuff, because some of the people have since passed away involved in the production of this, and it's all sort of chained together in a chronological order. It's very good.
Sounds fascinating.
By Kyle Buchanan.
Right, so that's relatively new as well.
Came out like this week, I think.
Oh, wow, okay. So not like new.
Yeah, not new. Not 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, well,
I didn't
okay.
get it 5 minutes ago and read the entire thing.
I guess I'll
5
check
minutes.
it out then.
Yeah.
Well, what I read or watched, even though you watched and read most of the things this week, it turns out.
Yeah,
So
I really
obviously
monopolised that.
I'm limited in my options.
I mean, we say we can do like 6 things in total, and I've done 5.5.
That's
there,
right.
So you got half of.
I'm going to talk about
You've
the
got
first
30 seconds to say half of
the
thing.
first half of the new Scream movie, which I watched.
Okay, great.
I thought it was terrific.
Really?
Like
Just the first half. Did you actually watch the first half?
No, I watched all of it.
Okay,
so
great.
it's Scream 5? And I don't think I've
Well,
really
couldn't tell you. I've seen one.
I've been invested in the Scream franchise, I think, since the second one, which I quite like. Third one's pretty blah. The fourth one I don't really remember, but apparently it's pretty good. And there's
Okay.
some stuff in this which kind of resurfaces. So when like a character shows up and I'm like, am I supposed to know this? And I look it
Right.
up and I'm like, oh yeah, that person was in number 4.
Well, that being said, given that I've only seen the first one, would
one-
I enjoy this?
This one is mostly callbacks to the first one.
Oh, okay,
yes,
right.
you could 100% watch that one and then this one.
Interesting.
And I just thought a lot of the returning characters. Yeah, I think what it does really well is, first of all, they bring back the original cast or who's left.
Okay.
And I think, and maybe some surprises, who's to say?
Oh,
I think, like, they're all good. They probably don't give Courtney Cox, like, maybe enough to do.
Okay.
But David Arquette and
just keep her in a room?
Yeah, just keep her in a room.
Playing
But
with one of those executive desk toys?
Yes, that's
With
right.
the balls on the chains?
But it's great seeing
Clink.
those people who are back. And,
Uh-huh.
like, David Arquette's amazing.
Yeah.
And Neve Campbell is just incredible. Like, I just think she's just terrific. And she's also they're not really in it that much.
Okay.
Because a lot of the focus is on the new cast. And the new cast are very interesting. And,
Okay.
dynamic, and they work well as a group. And it does very much feel, and like, it does retread a lot of stuff in the first movie. Because that's the one it's kind of not only paying homage to, but also rebooting. And as the franchise itself, as the movie itself is also aware of that.
Yeah, right.
And that could absolutely get painful. But for me, it just worked very well. And a lot of it is callbacks and, oh, look, it's this location and it's this person again and all those kinds of things. But I just thought, on the whole, did you see Ready or Not?
Yes, I did.
The directors of that.
The board game
Yeah.
movie, board game horror movie.
Yeah, which is also fantastic. And I just thought it was like a really good... Also, like, as a Scream movie, it works, and also as a continuation, it works. It's kind of it's what I wish the new Halloween franchise was.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good.
It was just, I really liked
There
it.
you go. Oh, just to be clear.
And you should watch it, by the way. If you've just seen the first one, you could totally watch this. Yeah.
Just to be clear, I did like all the Mark Miller stuff that I read.
Yes, no, I thought you were clear on that, Mason.
Well, I'm going to be even clearer.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, because I think it's good that this his company and him, who I think writes everything still, is attempting to make new stuff.
Yes.
And I also read Empress, which is
I liked Empress,
which is
like a big Star Warsy.
It's a big Star. Well, that's why I remember it, because it's a big Star Warsy
and
thing.
Saga-ish.
Yeah, it's set 65 million years in the past, a long time ago.
Yep.
But it's set in a previous civilization on Earth, and there's the empress of this galactic civilization is on the run from her husband, who's like a dark side style monster.
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely.
But yeah, like
Did you read Prodigy by any chance?
No,
Prodigy's
but
quite good as well.
it's on my list.
Yeah.
Of every comic ever made.
Yeah, Chrononauts is like a time traveling one, which is a fun one as well. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I appreciate, while some of them do have, we've reached the point where no matter what you create, somebody's going to be like, well, it's a bit Star Wars, isn't it? Or it's a bit Superman, isn't
You
it?
do
Kind
something
of
in
thing.
space,
But
then,
I
yeah, you're gonna
appreciate
get
that it's, while some of these are like deconstructing the genre, and some are just straight up, plain vanilla versions of a particular genre, or some of them are like cool, edgy versions or whatever. At least there's somebody out there not going, should we do another Batman?
Yeah.
Like, at least, somebody's going, here's some new... And while it is kind of very much like, and maybe we'll turn this into a movie. At least, it's they're all fun and very compelling. I wasn't like, God, I've got to get through
What a
these. I'm
slog,
like,
yeah.
oh, what's going to happen in the next issue? So,
And what did happen?
everybody died.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody got their head stomped and lasers and just blown up. Everybody gets blown up, limbs cut off, that sort of
That's
stuff.
interesting.
Very cool.
Wow.
I think.
I agree. Wow. Then we've got to move on.
Let's do letters.
What kind of letters?
These ones.
I think.
Classic
One
letters.
was letters, oh letters, we love you. Some letters, they're only a day away.
We're going to hear right now. We're going to do letters. I forgot one thing
What's that?
in what we're reading.
What?
Because I wasn't even reading it. It was a podcast.
What?
Auntie Donna, the last few weeks on their podcast, they've been doing a moving car podcast.
Oh,
They're doing a
yes.
podcast in their car.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. They've set up a government in the car. So go back. Go back a few episodes. There's like the prelude to the moving car podcast. If you want a jumping on point for their podcast.
Yeah.
And they've assembled. They've put in a lot of rules. And they're off on adventures in their car and doing a podcast. It's very funny.
That sounds amazing. I am going to listen to that because
Yeah.
I want a jumping on point for the Auntie Donna podcast too, Mason.
Yeah,
I
nice.
didn't even know they had a podcast.
You knew.
I didn't know.
Whoa, you're a liar.
Okay, so if you do want to reach the show, just simply #WeeklyPlanetPod on Twitter or weeklyplanetpod at gmail.com.
Simple as that.
Mason, do you have any Gmails or would you like me to kick
I've got
things
some
off?
Gmails. Here we go.
What do you got for us?
This is from Zachary.
Hello,
He says, my
Zachary.
hometown is an official Tom Cruise day. This isn't associated with our podcast really in any way, but I love Tom Cruise-related news.
Sure.
Hi, James and Maso. Thought you guys would be interested
Tom News. You're better at that than me.
I would have said Tom Canoes, though, so that's good. Hi, James and Maso. I thought you guys would be interested to know that my hometown has in the books an official Tom Cruise day.
Yes, that is interesting.
It's
yes.
May 9th. This happened when someone won a contest to see a premiere of Mission Impossible 3 with Tom Cruise at their local theatre. So Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes flew into our little dinky airport and went to our mall and signed autographs for a while and accepted keys to our city from the mayor.
How many
as well as
keys?
a book of our history. Just says keys.
Keys. Just
So probably two
fistful of
keys. But then they divorced, I assume. And
Wow,
then
who's got those keys?
where are those keys?
How are they going to start up or shut down the generator?
Oh, because you need two keys.
How are they going to launch the
That
nuclear
reactor.
missiles?
Oh my God, this little town. And they got a book of our history.
Yep.
I was there, and here are some highlights from my perspective.
Oh, I'm loving this. I'm
Tom
loving
Cruise
this.
didn't say a single word during the entire thing. Our local radio station had to pull their couch jumping competition at the last minute. People thought it would somehow help the town's economy.
Yeah.
He signed my copy of Last Samurai on the plastic cover rather than the disc, so it wiped off before I even got back to my car. There was a shrine to Tom Cruise at the mall that stayed up until the mall got torn down during the start of COVID.
Wow.
If you're interested, here's a Seattle Times story on it. I can't click it because I've made a screenshot of this, so it would be futile if I were to click it.
I understand. That's fine with me.
Anyways, it's a little quirky thing I thought you might have a laugh at.
Why didn't he say anything?
It's a great question. P.S. That's from Zach. He says,
Was he
can I be the official
conserving
human of the
energy?
podcast? Yes, you can. Sorry?
Yeah. So was he conserving energy? And what was the thing you said?
He
Zach,
said,
something
can I be
telling
the
you.
official human of the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, you can.
I got to say, I'm loving emails like that.
Right?
I'm not saying I don't love all our emails, but just like
You love that one
give
especially
us a
more.
strange entertainment.
It's
tidbit.
like you love your kids equally,
Yep.
but one of them you do love more.
Absolutely.
That's what I thought.
Here's a question for you. Not true.
And it's the one listening to this.
wow.
Yeah. First one who listens to this.
And if they're both listening to it, you're out of the wheel, both of you.
Nice. I love all the little traps you've built in.
I love traps.
Yeah, traps are good, aren't
Here's a trap for you, Mason. From Alcedare McGregor
they? Ooh.
on Twitter, who says #WeeklyPlanetPod, which is very much how you reach the show. Have you guys watched Guardians of Justice? What the hell is it?
Oh, I know.
haven't
I am
watched it.
aware of it. It's on Netflix, and it's sort of a very low-budget superhero spoof of some kind.
Yes.
And some of it's live action, and some of it's animated or
Yes,
something.
and that's as
Interesting.
far as we can go with that information.
I
That's
saw
what
a
it is.
thumbnail, and I'm
Yep.
like, I'll get to that eventually.
Yeah.
I think I got that little push notification. It's like, you were interested in this.
idiot.
And I'm like, was I? All right, I guess.
I guess.
I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, so there we go. I've heard some people talking about it in the Great Mates Planet broadcasting group.
Oh.
And their opinions are divided, but not entirely negative. So maybe it's worth checking out. What about you, Mason?
This is from Yoram.
Yep.
He says, hey, guys.
Hey. I'm saying hey, because he said hey, guys.
Oh, that's good. That's
so
good,
wasn't
actually.
it you? You looked up like I had something. hey, you.
Oh,
Hey,
jeez.
mate.
If you were any louder, I just would have run, I think. But no, that's good for the interaction with the listeners,
It's
which
true.
I like. You got to increase that interaction with the listeners. So I think
So we can sell them things.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, good.
He and his girlfriend live in the UK. When my girlfriend found out that Tom Holland was British, I had to show her you guys' famous "Ooh, I'm Tom Holland" bit. She loved it. We laughed lots, and we do it to each other all the time now.
Excellent.
Fast forward a few months, and she tells me that she's been doing it at work all the time, but no one really seems to get it. I said, "What do you mean you do it at work all the time?" Turns out she thought it was something Tom Holland had done in an interview or something along those lines, rather than a niche podcast inside joke. Anyway, much love from your Am. So that's great.
We've ruined a regular person's
I
life.
know, right? So she's like, guys, Tom Holland, get it? And they're like, why would we get it? What do you mean?
We're all British? What are we doing?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh,
that's
that's
good
fun.
stuff.
Yeah.
We love ruining lives.
We certainly do.
Yeah.
It's our favourite thing to do. We're so sorry.
We're jackass, but for other people's social interaction.
That's
is what
right.
we are.
That's right. And he's got a quick pun for that, and it is...
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Moving on.
That was the thing.
That was the joke?
And then I was throwing it to you.
That was the whole joke.
No, I was throwing it to you.
Felt like it could have been refined more.
Ah!
What was that my job?
No, it was still my job, so I feel bad about that.
Okay. Actually, cool. We talked about last week they're redoing Bullet.
Oh yeah, that's
also,
right.
did you see?
Maybe they're redoing
Maybe,
because
yeah.
it's not going to be Spielberg's next project. His next project is something else.
Yeah, he's doing... I was going to say Indiana Jones, but that's someone else. I don't know what he's doing.
It's called like Warble Land or something.
Warble Boys, everybody.
The Warble Boys.
The Warbles of Wimbledon.
Yeah. Oh, he's doing a Wombles remake.
He's doing the Wombles.
Oh, that's
But we
great.
talked about Bullet. Oh, I just want to quickly say, Robert Downey Jr. is Parker? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
For an Amazon series?
So that's a series of crime novels.
Yep.
Which one of which was adapted in the movie Payback.
Yep, which is
with
good.
With Mel Gibson.
Melvin Gibson.
Statham's also
Statham did
been
one,
Parker.
And there might have been someone else.
Yeah,
At some point.
That's interesting. He's sort of a real anti-hero kind of.
He's hard living, hard
He's
drinking.
a crim, but he's not as bad. He's real noir stuff. I didn't know that. So this
Yeah.
is Robert Downey Jr. That's interesting.
RDJ.
That would. I mean, that would work.
Yeah, I think so.
his default, like his public persona is like he's kind of like a scallywag.
I think he's also maybe
and Parker's
doing
more of a prick.
I think he's maybe doing it with Shane Black as well. I might
That
be
okay. That all
wrong.
makes a lot of sense.
Let me check.
Okay. Well, look, I'm very excited to see whether he becomes. It's just Robert Downey Jr. again, or it's he's a real piece of work, which he is.
So yeah, that's the first emerging with the deal. Will feature film titled "Play Dirty," so it's a feature film. It starts. So it says series, but it also then says feature film. I don't know. The first project emerging from the deal would be a feature film titled "Play Dirty," in which Robert Downey starred stands as Parker, and then "Play Dirty" serves as a reunion. Blah blah blah. Yes, I know that.
Who are you talking
But
to?
is it? I don't know. It's a movie or a show or both. I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, cool. Anyways, we said who could be Steve McQueen's Jack Bullet? Who could be it?
Frank Bullet.
Who's
yes.
cool enough?
Who's
And-
cool, but it's a very specific kind of cool. This is really just for me. I don't think anybody cares, and I
Oh,
don't.
really?
and
'Cause I got a lot of
and
messages,
and I don't
Mason.
think this movie is going to get made. But all right.
I think it will. I think it's because it's a thing that somebody knows.
Okay,
that
now
being
here's a few that I'm going to throw out of the top of my head. A lot of people have said Damian Lewis because he played Steve McQueen in
talked about that last
Once Upon a
week.
Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
Yep. But I mean, maybe that
Yeah.
could work. Sure.
Sure.
Yep.
Here we go. Drew says Jason Momoa and Lenny Kravitz. Two cool dudes.
What as a team?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Love it.
Zed says Henry Cavill. I don't know about that.
Too big.
Too big.
I mean, he could get small, but why would he?
Yeah. Ridiculous. What
Also,
would
he's
you
already
guess?
done like a throwback one because he was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's true. What? Miscellaneous says Benicio del Toro. I don't mind that.
I don't mind that. Okay,
Yeah.
yep.
This one might be, I think, in my mind, is the closest.
Okay.
This is from Matthew. Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, that works.
He's got that Steve McQueen kind of
Yeah.
vibe and
Yep.
leanness.
And again, we
He's
don't
not
know
too
much.
big, is he?
We don't know much about him.
What's he doing? Is he doing bad stuff?
Is he married to another famous person? I think he is,
I
but
don't
who
know.
is it? I don't know.
Who is it? Who is it?
Right?
Thomas says Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah, that could work.
Like that.
Yeah.
Chris says Chris Pine.
Yeah. Okay. Too cool. Too Hollywood cool.
Maybe too cool.
Because the question is they're going to be cool,
Yep.
but they can't be like Hollywood cool, which is like this guy's
Yeah.
cool, right?
Because if it was like him or Hemsworth or Evans, any of the Chris's. I think they are verging on too cool.
Yeah.
But that's, cool is perspective. You know
Cool
what
is
I mean?
relative, exactly.
Timothy says Mr. In-Between's Scott Ryan.
I haven't seen that yet, but it's
Very
on
good.
the most recent streaming service I've forced myself onto. So
Yes, and outside
I
the
guess-
box and really good, that show. And AK40 Oz says Tig Notaro.
that would be great, yes.
There we go. Now that's
No,
cool.
but in order to do that, we'd have to already cast one guy as Bullet,
Yeah.
and then they get cancelled, and then we bring Tig in. That's
What
how
if
this
you
works.
What if you cast someone who's already cancelled? You film it, and then you replace them.
Yeah, nice,
So they've
good,
already
good.
been cancelled.
Yeah.
And then you just come in, and then your work's done for you. Anything else, Mason, in terms of Latours?
Let's have a look. Like I said earlier, I think Michael Shannon might be too old, but I like.
Yeah.
he's real grizzled. Maybe he's too grizzled. That's the problem.
Who's he married to?
Don't know.
Michael Fassbender. That's that famous couple.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about Cillian Murphy?
I
Too
like
cool?
that. No,
I think that
too
could
cool.
work.
Yeah.
You also have to factor in how's their American accent.
Yeah, he's good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he did Batman.
That's true.
So there you go. Yeah, he's married to Alicia Vikander, Michael Fassbender.
That's a famous
That
person.
makes sense. That
I'm
is
aware
a
of
famous
how famous.
person.
Yep.
I love knowing how famous somebody is.
Right?
Don't you?
Sebastian Stan, too cool? He's in that Marvel camp, I
Yeah,
think.
but he's
man.
pretty he's a chameleon fellow, isn't he?
That's true.
He's Tommy Lee at the moment.
Yeah, it's Tommy Lee, that's
Yeah.
true. How about cool, but I think probably not American enough, Mads Mikkelsen. First of all, he's not American at all.
Ooh. And I think if he were to do it,
Yeah.
don't make him American. That would, I think, detract from Mads Mikkelsen's coolness.
Yes, but it also, I feel like Bullet has to be all American.
We're
Yeah.
at a crossroads, aren't we? That's what I'm talking about.
You also haven't seen Bullet, so this is...
I have. Haven't
Have you?
I don't know, maybe.
I'll
I've seen some of it.
Okay.
Isn't that enough? That I've seen some of it?
Yeah, that's enough, I think.
I saw the first half of Bullet.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
saw the
yeah,
first
yeah.
half of Scream 5. Cool, man.
Let me check. Oscar Isaac.
It's cool.
He's cool.
That's cool.
Anyway, that's a bunch of cool dudes and dudes we think are cool.
I agree. What's next?
What's the Green Knight's guy's name? What's his name again?
Dev Patel.
Yeah.
That's a good choice, actually.
Can he do
Has
an
his
American accent? Dunno.
Dunno.
He's all
Dunno,
he's all
mate.
like, I'm committed to doing British things. I'm British or whatever.
I'm Australian in that one Australian movie about adoption or whatever. Very good movie. You should watch it. All right, Mason, what's next?
I got one more email.
What's next,
This is from
Mason?
Gwen.
Hello, Gwem.
Gwem? Yes, James, Gwem.
Gwem.
Hey, Gwem.
I've never met a Gwem.
Hey, dear James and Meso, been watching the channel for close to 4 years now.
Oh, thank you.
A year ago, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and I've spent a lot of my
Boo.
time listening to the pod. It's helped me have a good laugh through an otherwise horrible time. Thanks for being entertaining and making me laugh so much. I have a question for you. When Daredevil inevitably shows up in the future MCU project in costume, do you think they'll keep one of his costumes from the show, or he'll get a new one entirely? Thank you for your question, Gwem. I'm glad you're doing better.
Me too, Gwem. That's
Yeah.
great news. I'm sorry I called you Gwem. I didn't mishear. I was just being a prick.
There was a tone
Yeah.
approaching that letter, and I'm like, do I address the tone?
No.
I'll just barrel on with this letter about leukemia.
Great question, though.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do the yellow red suit. I think because often they'll be like, let's take it back.
Yeah.
And I know
yeah.
Charlie Cox is like the one thing I want to see is the D, the double D's on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know what I'm referring to, Mason.
Yes.
The logo.
The Daredevil logo.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
they're going to do like his. Is that his original?
Daredevil is one word, though, so I think you should just say D.
Yeah.
And people should be like, what is that?
BD. Big D. Don't you think?
Yeah, they'll
That's
call
better, right?
Yeah.
Here comes
Who's this
Big
mysterious
D.
vigilante? We call him Big D.
Is the yellow one the first? And often,
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
also when you get like flashbacks in comics, sometimes he's in it.
Yeah.
Or he's in the black one, which is more like an 80s
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
I think. But yeah, what do you think?
I would like to see that. I mean, you know, they what I like, one of the things that the only thing that I like about the Marvel Universe, James, is that they update
Okay.
the costumes quite regularly, and we always get a new version of whoever's suit, whether it be Iron Man or Captain America or whoever.
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
they will 100% give him a new suit, I think, and I think it will probably be more comic booky. I would love to see how they pull off yellow, because
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like
You could do it.
it doesn't seem like you could do it.
Yeah.
I imagine it, but I mean, Iron Man is yellowish sometimes.
No, he's
gold.
not,
He's
though.
gold. He's
They
yellow.
never go with the...
No, that's true.
Because
Yeah,
they basically have the same look.
yeah, that's true.
Don't they?
Look, if
The early version.
I think if they obviously if they're going to do the yellow and red, I think they'll find a way to pull it off. It won't look stupid.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
they'll definitely give it a whirl at least for one movie.
I agree.
You know?
Or show, or episode.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you, Gwem.
Maybe they'll do the one where he's like, he'll get all wacky and be like, I'm trying all new suits, and we'll see the yellow and red one, and people will be like, I don't think so.
And then the tailor's like, that's $500,000 for you to be like, I don't like this one.
Yeah.
I guess I can make you another one.
Yeah,
Is
but
that what you'd like?
Yeah.
By the way, you don't have money. You're paying in fish, are you? I don't like this.
Well.
Anyway, thank you, Gwen.
Yeah.
I know your real name. Not your full real name. Do we have it in the email? Don't read it out.
I have it here. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, just so you know, if you write in, we have your full name.
Might be a pseudonym, though.
There we go.
Yeah.
Probably safer.
Yeah.
All right. Is that the show?
That's the whole show. Folks, thanks so
Lovely.
much for listening to the show.
Yeah.
If you've got any opinions on the Batman, let us know.
I
More
do, actually.
opinions.
I already did
If
them
you
all.
think, especially if you think we are very wrong, I would love to
Well,
say.
I think, and I mentioned this last week of like the two people I spoke to afterwards. One of them was like, I didn't like it. I thought
All
it was
right.
the Dark Knight light.
Oh.
And I didn't feel that way, but I also think I've seen a little bit of that, and I think we'll probably see more of it. And it's not like as big and bombastic as a lot of Batman movies. It's quite
true.
slow, for a lot of it, which
Yeah.
is also fine not to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, cinematically, if they did another one which is very similar to this, like another detective movie.
Yeah.
Do you think people would be like, boy, do you think we'll be like, boy, we're sick of this?
Yeah.
Can he just punch 20 guys in identical costumes?
Please, if we could, just now, please do it.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know. It would be very.
Let us
I would
know.
love to hear some new perspectives on this.
La. Me too. Mason, how do we wrap up the show?
Folks, the way we wrap up the show is James, first of all, we thank everybody for listening.
We do, don't we?
James, if you could.
Oh, you want me to thank
If
everybody
you,
for listening?
individually, yes.
Do I use full names?
I've emailed
got
you
this
a list.
spreadsheet of everybody's full names and addresses. Do
If
want
you
me to
could,
start
yeah.
Going through
We'll do
that?
5 a week, and we'll see how it goes for those people. No, folks, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for telling your friends about it or tricking your girlfriend into saying some weird in-joke in a real life.
You never said that it was a real regular thing.
No, I made it up out of my stupid brain.
No,
my weird diseased
he
brain.
never said it to his girlfriend.
No, that's
you know
true.
What I mean?
That's true.
I don't know.
Folks, thank you for telling your friends. Thank you for leaving a 5-star review on whatever platform you have. Very easy, usually.
Yeah, I agree.
James, you got any there?
Got one from Dr. Dastardly who says, pig rolling down a hill. One of my favourite podcasts of all time. Always look forward to my Monday morning commute to work so I can listen to James and Mason bicker back and forth with each other about various news and topics. Always good to see some of the recurring characters such as Guy who knows everything about anime and Guy who knows nothing about Star Wars. Those are not characters. Those are real
They're people we know.
shards of our personality.
Oh, yeah, that's how I know them. There we
That's
go.
right.
Yeah.
And Nakara,
Remember, James, you also have 2 more vetoes left for the year.
I know.
Riff vetoes.
Well, I can't wait.
Don't forget.
I'm gonna-
Or do you have one left? Because
I might have one.
You
I
might
might
have one
have
because you vetoed one of your own riffs. No, I'll give you 2. You can have 2.
Oh.
I think canonically you can. That one's a freebie.
I love that.
You can veto any number of your own riffs.
Is this a riff?
No.
Okay.
No, this is information for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So information cannot be a riff. If it's something useful, not a useful. If
Yep.
it is, if you're imparting relevant information,
Yeah,
it's not a
that's
riff.
not a riff. Actually, you know what? You can have 2 more riffs. You can have 2 more vetoes of me.
Yep.
You can have 3 more vetoes of yourself. But if,
I just pull the pin.
you're gonna pull a pin on your own, whatever you're talking about. But if you run out,
I gotta keep
you're
going.
gonna keep going. Yeah.
I love that. Nakara says, a poggingly good time.
Uh-oh.
Never fails to get multiple genuine laughs out of me. Genuinely can't listen to it while I work because it's too entertaining.
Uh-oh.
I presume that's not a spelling mistake and is a mix of entertaining and interesting, which is, that's how we do things.
That's right.
One of us is interesting and one of us is entertaining, but we're both not both.
We were both misinformed about which we were supposed to be. So the funny guy's just real dry.
Yep.
And the dry guy's like, well, hey.
Yeah! You know, like an MC at a wedding, and you're like, why'd they give it to this guy?
Right?
He's up there for too long. Get off, please.
Right.
I want to go to the toilet. Anyways, mate.
Folks, if you want to get into contact
I want to
with
go
us-
to the toilet and sit on my phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm at a dumb wedding, send tweet. Folks, if you want to get into contact with us, you can go to Weekly Planet Pod at Gmail, at Twitter, at Facebook, at Bandcamp. You can go to the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group. You can go to the Weekly Planet Pod Discord. You can go to the Weekly Planet Pod subreddit.
Yeah.
You can follow at the Weekly Planet. And you can follow at Raw Collings. Those are both Rob Collings, who edits this podcast, edits videos, does all the stuff that keeps us going over here.
I wish I was so lucky that I could follow all those things. Man.
You can.
I know.
Nice. You can also,
I wish.
James, you can also follow me at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter, and you can follow me on Instagram at Nick Maso, NickMaseeau. I'll just look at my phone while you follow me on those things.
Unfollowed you in the hope that one day you'll tweet something interesting enough. Are you the interesting one? That
No.
it comes back, pops up in my feed.
I'm not going to do that, though. I refuse
It goes
to do
viral,
it.
and then I'll find you.
It's
again
not. It's
online.
not a function of talent. I just refuse to do that. You can also follow James. He's Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere. If you want to support the show,
I'm the funny one. I'm funny.
I would have disagreed, but you're doing some finger guns in the air there, and you've smushed your hair into a funny shape,
Thank
which
you.
I like. If you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies. If you want to chuck in $1 or any amount you wouldn't miss, that's the amount to give.
That's right.
Whether it be a mere cent or at $100,000 a month. Do you think there's a limit? I reckon there probably is.
think there is.
So you can't trick somebody. You can't get somebody's phone to be like, I'm giving the Weekly Planet $100,000.
Yeah, that if you're doing that, something bad's happened.
Or something very good's happened, followed by something bad. Like you've won the lottery and you're like, I'm going to give my favourite podcast $100,000 a month. And then a year later, you're like, oh, no.
Don't do it.
No.
Put it in crypto.
Yep.
No, put it in shares, I guess. Or a high interest savings account.
Yeah, or Pogs.
Or Pogs. They're back.
They are back. It's true. But for the big spenders, even bigger, you can go to bigsandwich.co. You can sign up for $9 dues per month, US dollar dues.
Yes, that's
that
right.
is to say. And you get bonus podcasts and early videos and all sorts of stuff. We're having a great time over
We
there.
are having a great time, aren't we?
Great time, yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing this week on there, actually? I think it's I don't know. Do you want me to-
You tell me, tough guy.
Oh, Jesus.
That's right.
What the fuck happened then?
But do it before I flip the table. You're going to cop it, mate. But we've got some t-shirts on tpublic.com.
Yep.
Search for The Weekly Planet. Thank you to The Brute and the Basilisk and Rackham for all the musical themes.
Oh, we're looking at 1989 for the time capsule.
Oh, that was a good year, I
That was a
think.
good year, and
a
it was
very
the
good
Batman
year.
year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Nice.
Anything else?
No, that's the whole show.
Great.
Next week, something that isn't the Batman.
What do you think it
Or
will
maybe
be?
it's hot the Batman takes.
What do you think of this?
I thought you were taking a photo of yourself. I knew it. I was going to ask if you were looking at your phone, but I'm like, are you just taking a selfie? He was.
I was. But
Yeah.
I was doing two things because I was also bringing up the
Wow.
thing
I think you
that-
should put that on Instagram.
It's not very good though, is it?
That's why I'm asking you to put up on Instagram.
I don't think that makes me look very good at all.
That's why I'm saying
It's a
it.
bad angle.
Yeah, yeah.
My hair looks really grey in this one. I got bags under my eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. This is what I look like. I walk around like this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the lighting's really good in here.
Good stuff.
I think you should put it up with a caption, do I look really good here?
I
Guys.
actually just delete it.
Okay, that's probably for the best.
All right. What is next week, actually?
know.
We're sneaking up on Mickey Morbius.
Death on the Nile?
Oh, no, Mason.
No,
Oh,
they delayed Mickey Morbius again,
Snake
didn't
Eyes.
they?
No,
We could do
it's
Snake
April
Eyes,
1st.
yeah. Okay,
Snake Eyes again.
yeah.
Have you already done a Snake Eyes episode without me?
No, I'm saying they delayed Morbius again.
Oh, I see. Let me check what's going on. Let me just go to the Hoyt's Cinema
Okay.
website.
In the point of the podcast where nobody's listening anymore, yes, you should definitely do that.
Hang on a fucking second, mate. No, I've got a better thing I can do this.
Okay.
I've got my caravan of garbage list.
Oh.
Nothing.
Great.
Nothing. I guess because they're giving Batman a wide berth. So do a topic. That's fun.
Do a
Cool.
topic.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye. Oh, Snake. We'll do Snake Eyes.
We'll do Snake Eyes.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, watch it. If you
The
have watched
movie
watch it.
Snake Eyes. It's on your streaming service, or you buy it. Spend real money on it.
That's right.
Spend real money on the movie Snake Eyes. No amount is too much money.
Rent out to your local.
What is it? $14.99? Well, yeah, just buy it.
Cinemaplex. Rent
Yeah.
one out.
Oh yeah,
And you'll make it back in ticket sales.
I think that's true. Yeah.
People will come. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
I mean, if you want. It's up to you.